Welcome to the Advanced PHP Development. In this course, we are going to be building a completely custom MVC, that is Model View Controller Framework, from the ground up. So basically something like a mini Laravel, but this will definitely challenge you on how PHP truly works. So in this course, you are going to be learning a lot of things. A little preview of what you are going to be building in this course is account authentication. On this same page you are going to authenticate both the user and also the admin using Ajax. So alongside, you're also going to learn how to validate the user, how to validate their inputs. Okay, so without further ado, let's click on sign in and let's see how it works. As you can see, it shows a model that you are going to learn also yourself. You are going to learn how to build it yourself. So we have go to accounts, and as you can see, we are in the user dashboard, and this user dashboard is protected by middleware, a middleware that you can write yourself. Let me show you the middleware. As you can see, we have the middleware section here. Here we are for the user, and here we are for the admin. So this middleware, you can write it from scratch. You will learn how to do everything that we have here from scratch. And also the routes. Here we have the routing system. As you can see, we have the section for the routing for the user, which is covered, which is protected by the middleware of the user, along with the routing for the admin, which is protected by what? By the admin. So if user login, you will not be able to actually go to the /admin section because the user is not corresponding to the middleware validation. So if I go back again and I try to access admin dashboard, let's say I just want to try to access admin using the user authentication, it's going to take me back to the user page that says, okay, you're already logged in as a user, except I have to log in as an admin. Alongside, you're also going to learn how to actually send an email notification to your user while they are performing a kind of transaction or anything on your project, anything that has to do with email notification. You are going to learn how to actually do it from scratch. So let's say I want to add a fund to my wallet. Let's say this current user that is logged in, I want to add a fund of 300 naira to my wallet, and immediately the fund is being created to my wallet, I'm going to receive a notification from the website that is from your project. So let's do that. I'm going to click on add fund to your wallet, and I'm going to type 300 naira, click on add fund, and that is going to initialize Flutterwave payments, inline payments. Okay, so I'm going to select the card I've used previously in the development section, and this is going to validate the payment after the payment has been made from the UI. The backend is going to validate the payment, and after the payment is being validated, immediately you are going to receive an email. Let's go to the email section. As you can see, we have 5,800, and the transaction is also logged down on the table. As you can see, we have 300 naira here with the transaction reference and the type, which is wallet top up. So if I go to my email now, you are going to see what we've received. As you can see, we have wallet top up and we have transaction was successful. So if I click on the wallet top up, you are going to see the notification message that says, "Hi Adeleye, your wallet has been created with 300 naira." So all this message, you can actually edit it because we have a template that is going to help you format it to any pattern you would like to use it. As you can see, we have the top up email here. This is the top up email for the HTML pattern. So this HTML section, you can rewrite it, add CSS, add any kind of designing you would like to add. Alongside, we are also going to be learning how to use Cloudinary as your image uploader. As you can see, we are going to be using Cloudinary. So let me try to change my profile picture. So if I go to the profile section, over here we have this profile image selection. I will click on select image. So how this image is being updated, how it's being uploaded, you are going to learn it. So let me select a new picture from my system. So if I select my picture over here and I click on save and I click on skip, this is going to upload the image to Cloudinary, and you are going to accept the Cloudinary image. Then whenever the user click on save, it's going to automatically save the picture, and you can use the image anywhere. As you can see, I'm refreshing my page now and the picture is already attached to my user account. That is a great bonus for you guys. Okay, and you're also going to be learning how this PHP mailer works, how you can connect PHP mailer with your SMTP, how this hosting SMTP works in general. You are going to also learn it in this course. So there are tons of things that you can learn in this course, including the buy airtime section where you can actually purchase an airtime and it's going to be registered into the transaction. So going further, let's also log into the admin section. Let's see how the admin actually look like. So if I log in the admin section, you are going to see how the admin page look like. You can see admin does not support the wallet credit because this is the admin page. So what admin can do is admin can add balance to your wallet. As you can see, this is the wallet balance we have here, and if I change this wallet balance to 6,800 and I click on save, it's going to automatically update the wallet balance to 6,800. And if I sign out as an admin and I log in as a user, you are going to see the 6,800 being added to my wallet. As you can see, 6,800 naira. Alongside this admin template, I'm going to be giving it to you guys for free because I have actually made the payment for this Software Dashboard Pro, which is amazing, and I wouldn't want you guys to miss the fact that this template has a lot of features that can take any project of a kind of dashboard. So I purchased this templates and I'm going to be giving it to you guys for free. So there are a lot of things you can learn. There are a lot of things you will learn in this course. There are a lot of things you are going to gain in this course, and you are going to also learn how to hide your directories. You are going to learn how to do a lot of things, how to connect session, how to create your route, how to do so many things. There are lots of things, how to create your controller, your middleware, so many things in this course. Okay guys, what are you waiting for? Join me in this course and let's make the best out of this course. Thank you again for visiting the course. See you in the course. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new series. In this series we are going to be learning how to install the required local server that we're going to be using, because currently I'm not working with XAMPP anymore and I'm not working with WAMP anymore. So what I use on my MacBook at the moment is map server. I use map server. So this map server work with my M1 MacBook, and it also work with Intel MacBook. So if you are currently running on M1 or you're running on Intel, this map server is definitely going to work for you. So we're going to be using this map server, and the version is 7.4. so if you are looking at how can you get this map server, it's very simple. Just go to Google and tap map server. Just type map server and this is going to load up. So just click on the first one. Once you click on the first one, go to free download. So over here you select your operating system. So if in your own case is Intel MacBook, go for this. So if you are M1 MacBook down to M2 series, go for this. Okay, so for those who are running on Windows, go for this. I will also do a simple introduction on how to install it on Windows. I'm also going to do that so that you are not going to be left behind. Okay, so once you click on this, download it and install. So once you are done installing, open the map application. So it's look like this. If you want to go for the Pro, you can click on open, but at the moment we don't need a Pro, so we're going to be using the basic map server to do all this process. Okay, so once you click on start, it's going to process your server for you, and it's going to start both Apache and MySQL. Now as you can see, this is the landing page of the map. The Apache is running and the database, which is MySQL, is also running effectively. Okay, so once that is set, the next thing we are going to look into is the home directory, which is either www in WAMP server or htdoc in XAMPP server. So in this map server that we are going to be using, they also depend on htdoc. So let me show you how to do that. So first, go to your finder. So once you get to your finder, over here you are going to go to your root directory. That is where you can find your application folder. So to do that, just click on Command Shift G, then go to Macintosh HD, which is your root directory, or just hit enter on this / that we have here. Enter. So once you click on enter, you're going to find this application folder, library, system, user. So just go to the application. So once you go to the application, you are going to look out for map server. So map server, now as you can see, this is map here. So we have map pro, we have this map ordinary folder. So go to this map ordinary folder, but make sure before you get to this application section, make sure you already download and install this map. So drop down this folder, then over here you're going to find htdoc. So in my own case, I created a shortcut for this htdoc beside my favorite. So to create a shortcut is very simple. What you just need to do is I think I use options to do that. Okay, let's see. So let's say this shortcut is not here anymore. Let me remove from sidebar. So let me go back to that page again. Command Shift G, enter, then go to application, htdoc. So I think I drag it down to this place. So I drag it to a new layer for the shortcut. As you can see, we now have the shortcut. So once you have that, you'll be able to go to your htdoc without going through / root directory, application and co. So it's still the same folder location. So once you have this folder created, then you are good to go. So over here, once you get to this place, the next thing you now need to consider to do is to create a new folder called PHP_advance. Just PHP_advance. Then hit enter to save the folder. And once the folder is being saved, drag this folder to VS Code. Drag it to VS Code, and VS Code is going to load it up. As you can see, my VS Code load the folder up. So what I'm going to do inside this folder is create a sample. I'm going to create a sample index file here, which is called index.php. So over here, I'm going to print echo. I'm working, so this works. So let's test our map server. So to get this directory, it's still the same format of map as a map, wamp server, XAMPP server. So just point this PHP_advance, append it to your localhost URL. So that's how it's been done. So I'm going to do the same thing here. So this is my localhost URL. 888 is my port. To get a port is very simple. Go to map and you are going to go to the preference. Under preference, your port is going to be given to you. As you can see, my Apache port is 888 and my SQL port is 8889. So to every to every connection you'll be making, be pointing directly to 8888. Okay, so that will do the work for you. So let me minimize this now and point the URL, which is PHP_advance. Enter, and we have what this index page loads up, which is what I'm working. As you can see, this is working. Okay, so I will be moving down to the windows now to do similar videos that we just worked on here. Okay guys, see you in the next section. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning about the introduction of OOP in PHP. As from PHP 5, you can write PHP code in object-oriented style, and object-oriented programming is faster and easy to execute. So what is OOP in PHP? OOP stands for Object-Oriented Programming. Procedural programming is about writing procedure or functions that perform operations on the data, while object programming is about creating objects that contain both data and also the function in a single entity. Oh yes, so object-oriented programming has several advantages over procedural programming. You know, in terms of procedural programming, you will have to declare your method, that is your function, individually. Define it in this file, go to another file, define another file, and for you to start using it, you need to now start requiring the file into another file, and the chain can be very long. But in terms of object-oriented programming, there is an automated file requirement that is being done for you, which is the use of the SPL autoload class. So that will automatically fasten the entire process for you. So without further ado, let's continue with the introduction. So OOP is faster and easier to execute. Oh yes, it is very fast. I use it in most of my PHP programming in terms of WordPress, Laravel, plugin development, code igniter, and several others. So OOP provide a clear structure for the programs. OOP helps to keep the PHP code dry. That is, don't repeat yourself. Oh yes, any class you declare or method you declared, you can reuse it by implementing on another class entirely without you writing the code again from scratch. It makes it easy to maintain and modify and also to debug. It's very easy to do. Okay, so OOP makes it possible to create fully reusable application. Oh yes, this is perfectly true. So it help you create a fully reusable application with less code and what shorter development time. Oh yes. So now the next one we're going to look into now is what are classes and objects. Classes and objects are two main aspects of object-oriented programming. Let's look at this sample that we have here. As you can see, we have a class of fruits and we have several objects of apple, banana, and also mango. The same applies to class of car, and we have an example of Volvo, Audi, and also Toyota as an object. So all these objects derive all this value from the class because it is the class that you define yourself, that you apply the properties and the method yourself locally, that is pushed down to the object, because the class is going to be seen as a template for the object. Without the class, the object can't make any instance of itself. So the object depends on the class. So let's dive deep to the explanation. So class is a programmer defined data type. That is, it is you that will define your own class. I can decide to define my own personal class, that is making my own class like, okay, class Adeleye together Ayodeji. Yes, I can also define another class like class Toyota Corolla. I can define anything. Based on the requirement of the project. So see class as a programmer defined data type. It is you that will define what exactly you want your class to be. So you can think of a class as a template for making many instances of the same kind of objects. Okay, so moving on to the next one, which is the object as an individual instance of the data structure defined by a class. So in this case, you define a class once and make many objects that belongs to it based on what you want to derive from the class. I hope you understand. Let me come again. Objects is an individual instance of the data structure defined by a class. That is, you are picking a data from a template of a class. That is a class that has been already defined by you. Then you make an instance of an object in a new file or a new area just for you to derive color blue, color pink from the class. Yes. So you define a class once and make many objects that belongs to the class just for you to be able to achieve something good with the class. That is picking the person's properties name, the method, picking a lot of things. So that is how class work. I'm very sure this is going to help you with a basic introduction to object-oriented programming in PHP. So in the next section, we're going to dive deep into more of it. Okay, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current lesson. See you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this amazing new lesson. In this lesson, you are going to be learning more details about classes and objects, and guess what? We are going to be writing some examples. Okay, so here we have OOP case, which is just an illustration on how these classes and objects work. So let's assume we have a class named fruits, and a fruit class can have properties like name, color, weight, etc. We can define variables like name, colors, and also weight to hold the values of these properties. Okay, so when the individual objects, which is the apple, the banana, and etc., are created, they inherit all the properties and the behavior from the class, but each object will have a different value for the properties. So to proceed further, we have a class here. So to define a class, we use the class keyword. You Can you see? We use this class keyword to define a class. So to proceed, I'm going to be opening my VS Code so that it's going to look more interactive than the way it's looking on this Microsoft Word document. Okay, so I'm going to go to my file manager where I have this file. Go to my htdoc. So you guys, please, you can also go to your htdoc location. On WAMP server it is www directory, and for XAMPP it is htdoc, and if you are using MAMP server, which is what I'm currently using, so you are also be using htdoc. So please note that. So I'm going to start my server now so that my local server is going to be active. Then run the PHPAdvance file on the htdoc location. So let me close this page, go back to the folder, and here I have PHPAdvance. So my folder PHPAdvance, I'm going to drag it down to VS Code. So I will do this dragging like this. You can also do the same dragging on your Windows. So drop it on VS Code and it's going to load it up. So this is our old file. Don't forget we have this working loaded in our previous section during the introduction. You know, we need to just configure the server just to make sure it's working. So here we have working, which is a simple login for our base file. So let me click on save and try to run it again. Let's see if it's going to work. So localhost php advance underscore advance. Yeah, this is here. Now as you can see, it says what I'm working. Awesome. So the next thing we are going to now look into is this example that we are diving into, this sample that we have here. So a class is defined by using a class keyword followed by the name of the class and a pair of curly braces. Okay, all this and all its properties and method go inside the curly braces. Okay, so now let me go back to my index area, take out the echo, and within this place I'm going to have class. So what class am I writing? Class name. Let me call this my name. So class my name. So don't forget, if you are defining a class, your first letter is going to be a capital and the next word will also be capital letter. So just to make it look unique and standard. So here I have what class, which is the class keyword, and this is the custom name that I give to my class. So after that we have the curly braces. As you can see, this is the curly braces that has been added. Then drop it down within the curly braces section. We can now pass in our properties and our method. So let's keep on going. So now as you can see, we have what below we declare a class named fruits. So in our own case, we declare a class name my name. So we can also use fruits so that this is going to look more interactive. So I have fruits consisting of two properties, which is name and color. So the two properties, now we are going to define it. So to define the properties, we are going to use this keyword public so that it can be accessed outside the class without any restriction. So we have several keys that we can use, but for now let's start with public. So here I'm going to have property. Okay, so here we are going to declare the property, and here we are going to have public name. I think the first one is what? The first one is name. So public name, that has been added. And the next one we're going to define is public color. Color. So public color is defined, and we added some method of set name, get name. So let's add method of public also. So public function set underscore name, and are we passing anything? We are passing a variable set name, which is name, and within the method we are going to override the existing name that we have here. Okay, so variable name is equals to variable name. Okay, so this has been passed. The next one is get name. So get name method. Get name method. So here we have public function get name. So get name method. So within get name area, we are just going to return, I'm very sure, so we return the name of the get name. So return the name that we set. So if I click on save, this is going to automatically format itself. So let me show you how this shortcut that I used to define to write this one, how it works. So let me show you that so you don't get confused. Go to your extension location and search for PHP. Search for PHP. Okay, so install the PHP IntelliSense, which is number one. Install the PHP extension pack, which is very important. Install this and install format HTML in PHP and install PHP namespace. And what else? Okay, tabline. If you care about tabline, you can also install this. What else am I using on that PHP? I think that is all for now. Yeah, so let me go back to my location again so that we can continue what we are doing. Let me close this page. Close. Okay, so I save it down. So let's now explain what we do here. So let's go back to the document so that you can follow along. So here we have what? Define an object. So classes are nothing without objects. We can create multiple objects from a class. Each object has all the properties and the method defined in the class, but they have different property value. Object of a class is created using new using new keyword. And in the example below, we have the object created, which is what we have here. So we are going to now create a new object on our coding area, then set it. But before we create a new object, I would like to explain this class part. Then in the next section, we're going to define for the object. So let's go back to the code. So in this place, let me come again. We define our custom class. Defined custom class. So here we defined our custom class, which is fruit. So this can be anything. It can be fruit, it can be shalewa, it can be anything of your choice. It can be your name. Let's say your name is David, you just call this David, so class David. Or your name is Nelson, class Nelson. It can be anything. So this class is declared. Then after the class has been declared, then you need to now set the properties that your project required. So in this case of this fruit, we need to apply properties of a name and also the properties of a color. So and we have two methods that we have here. So the first method is setting the name of the existing property that we have here, that is overriding it and passing the one that is being declared by the initializer, which is making an instance of it with an object outside the class. Okay, so this is going to register the new name, and the new name is going to be printed by the get name. I hope you understand that part. So, and using this keyword refers to the current object. As you can see, it refers to the what? To the current object, that is the current class area within this container. So once you use this is going to automatically be saying this name that we have here, this unique name. But if I pass this and I pass something different, RRR, as you can see, this is not going to be defined because we did not declare it. There's no corresponding property name that match read. It's going to crash, it's going to show error. So the corresponding property that we have here is name, which is what we have like this. So the corresponding name is what we have here, and this name is automatically printed. As you can see, it shows up. If I pass something different, it's not going to load it up for me. But if I pass color is going to load. It's going to load up. As you can see, it loads up. So once you specify using this keyword and you pass the property that you want to pass or method, because this can be used for either method or property. So let's say I want to use this for get name. So here I'm going to have this get name, and I close the method. And as you can see, it says expression is not writable. It's seen it as if I'm writing this name into this method, so it will crash. The best part to use this in method is either you return watch. Let's say I return, let me pass this method and pass the method get name. As you can see, it returned the value. But in this case, I'm just trying to explain. I don't know if you understand. Please, if you don't understand what I just explained, ask me a question. I will definitely explain it to you again. I just want us to be on the same page. So for the last time, let me come back again. So first, we define a new class fruit using the keyword class and our custom name fruit. Now inside this fruit, we want to pass properties to it, properties like name and color. So we added this name and color and set the properties what's it called, visibility to public, because sometimes because the visibility can have several. We have private, we have public, and for now I don't want us to be going into a different part. I just wanted to have the basic knowledge. So in this case, we are going to be using public. With public visibility, this name will be able to be accessed outside this class by the time we are using objects. But with private, you cannot access it outside. It's within this class only. So with this public, we can now set our name and have it and have the access to get this name outside this class that we declared. I don't know if you still understand. Then we move on to the method area, where we also set it as public, so that we can have the visibility of using this set name outside this class. That is when we make an instance of it, that is, we declare an object, we can also make use of set name method. Okay, then we'll pass the new name into it. Okay, so after passing the new name into it, we now point to the property itself, the property the main property data, which is this guy that we have here. We reference it here, and the new name that is coming from the object area, which is outside this class, is now passed into this place, so that we can override the value. After the value has been overridden, then it's going to move into the get name method, and the get name method is also visible because it's public. We can access it outside this class. And after we set the name using this method, we now use this method to get the name by returning it to the object. I hope you understand. So we are going to continue with the object part in the next lesson. Thank you so much for taking your time to watch this one. See you in the next one. Hey guys, in the previous section we stopped at class declaration and we did not actually work on the object area. So in this lesson you are going to be learning how to define an object and get the values of your class. So once again, classes are nothing without objects, and we can create multiple objects from a class. Each object has all the properties and the method defined in the class, but they have different property values. Object of a class is created using this new keyword, and here we have some basic example. As you can see, we have some basic example here. So I'm going to be declaring the objects in our code now, so that we can see what we are talking about. Okay, so go back to the coding area where we have our amazing fruit class. So over here we are going to be specifying onto the name area. So here we have define the object. So define the object. So the first object we are defining here is apple. So let's call this apple. Apple equals to new fruits. And once the object has been instantiated, then we can now point directly to our set name. So to target the set name, we are going to use this simple syntax that I just used here, and we are going to reference to set name method. So set name, the name we're going to be setting for this is apple. As you can see, we have successfully pointed towards to the method that we just created, and we set apple for that part. So this is for apple. So let's now do for mango. So let me use the same example we have here so that we can be on the same page. Let's use banana. Yeah, let's use banana. So if you are referencing to the document, you are going to be saying the same thing. So banana, in banana case, we have banana then equals to new fruits. Don't mind that guy. So after that, we point to the method again, set name banana. After this has been declared and your method is set to the name you want to set, I told you once the name enter here, is going to override the existing value and is going to set the new name. Then the new name is now inside these properties, which is what we have here, and this guy can now be returned with what? Get name. So we are going to be pointing to get name now, which is what we have there. So here we're going to have results. Let's call this result. Then we have echo banana get what? Get name. Awesome. Then the same applies to echo apple get name. But before I do that, let me save for banana and let's see the results of banana. So if I refresh, as you can see, I have banana. This is amazing. Awesome. So once the banana has been set, we can also echo for apple. So let's call this apple, then get name apple. So refresh, as you can see, we have apple on the screen, which is amazing. So then this guy are actually made together. If you check the inspect area, you're gonna see it's not something really serious. The markup is not really as defined enough. As you can see, it's not even in an HTML, so it is printed from the server directly. Okay, so let's move on to pass some HTML syntax to this. So to do that, I'm going to be passing break tag. So to pass break tag, I'm going to use echo break tag br, then pass this. So now this is a simple break tag to separate the banana name from the apple name. So this is going to add an HTML to the page so that it's going to look more reasonable. Now, as you can see, we have what? Banana, and we have apple. So you have successfully write your first PHP class and your method along with your properties. So I hope you enjoyed this, and guys, please, if you did not understand, comment below. I will do my best to explain everything to you again from scratch, either from a Zoom call or Google Meet call. So please, if you don't understand how this happened, comments below and I will do my best to explain to you. Okay, so let's stop here for now, and if I may you, I will try to do some little exercise on this color. So try to set some color and get some color on the fruits. Okay guys, see you in the next one. In the next one, we're going to be trying to work on this so that we can set the color and also get the color. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, we are going to be working on the property color. But before we do the property color, I will like to create a repository for this project so that we can be saving our data to GitHub. So I will open a new tab, then point to GitHub page and click on the plus icon, new repository, and this is going to be called PHPAdvance course, PHPAdvance course. Okay, then here I'm gonna pass this, set it as public, then click on create repository. After that has been created, I'm going to copy everything I have here, Ctrl C, go down to my project directory and paste it within this place. Click on enter, and this is going to add all the necessary data to the file. And if I check the landing page, we are gonna find only readme rather. So to add some data to it, I can either use my command to do get add, which is everything, but I will be using the UI format. So this UI format is here. So for all VS Code, I believe there is a corresponding source control for you by default. Okay, so here I'm going to write initial commit. Okay, then click on check, and that has been checked. So go to the commit section and push this to GitHub. So it's pushing. Okay, so for every lesson that we're going to be doing, we are going to be pushing it. So that has been pushed. So close the terminal. If I refresh this page, we're gonna find the index. So we have the index in this place. Awesome. So now let's proceed with what we are doing. So let me close this page since our GitHub is connected. So the next thing we want to do now is this color. We want to be able to set color and also get color. So funny part is the same format you're going to use. So to do that, to optimize our code, I'm going to replicate exactly what we have here. So I'm going to use shift alternative down to duplicate what I just copied, and here I'm going to change this to color and not name. So we have color, so the same applies to this place. We call this color. Okay, so we call this out color. Okay, color. Okay, call this color. Okay, so call this also color. Awesome. So we have a corresponding color now on our end. So method to set color. Okay, so save it. Now we are now referencing to the color property. Okay, so now to set the color, we are going to do exactly what we have here is what we're going to do. So I'm going to point to Apple set color. So to set this color, we are going to call this color blue. Let's call it blue. Okay, so that color has been set. And for the banana, we are also going to point to banana and also set the color to green. Yes, set the color to green and save. So to print this now, we are going to now introduce another break tag. So let's introduce another break tag. So break tag has been added. So let's duplicate this break tag. Use your shift alternative down to duplicate instantly. Then here we are going to have what echo. Let's echo banana first. Banana get what color. So banana get color that has been passed. Then we can now echo with another break tag and echo apple what get color. So click on save, and this has been saved. Let's go to our browser, refresh. Now we have what? We have green and we have blue. So this is awesome. So I really love this. So guys, please, if you don't understand how we get to this level, please and please comment below. I'm saying please comment below. If you don't understand how we get to this level, comment below your issue. Okay, guys, this is awesome. So now let's click on save and add it to our GitHub added color method. So we had a color methods. Click on check and push it to GitHub. That has been pushed. Awesome. So go back to the file location, and so how I go back to the file location is very simple. I use Ctrl+Shift+E to go back to the location. Okay, so in the next section we are going to be learning more amazing things. Okay guys, thank you for staying with me ever since you started this lesson. See you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this new lesson. In this lesson, you are going to learn how to point directly to the property name without using your get name method. The previous one we learned how to use get name and get color, but in this case we are not going to use get name or get color. We are going to get this color name and this name directly using the property value after you set the name. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So by default, this is what we get, the green and the blue. The same applies to banana and also apple. So we are going to now be pointing directly to the property name instead of using a method to get the value. So to do that is very simple. Here that we have get name, exactly what we have inside get name, which is pointing to this, which means we are referring to the current class. You get? So in the case of object format, we are going to tap into the object name that we are trying to print. So copy the object name. Don't forget we set the name here, which overrides the name itself. Okay, so now copy the object name. Then here we're going to echo banana. Then after banana has been pointed, then we get the name. Let me show you again. This guy here, we are going to point to it, which is the property get name. So with this name, is going to be saying the public property, which is what we have here. So let me click on save and go to my browser. We are gonna find the banana there. Can you see? We still have the banana, so it is working as expected. The same applies to the rest of the feed. We can also do the same for here. Equal apple, the name, as you can see, that is it. So the same applies to this place. Equal, instead of get color, we are going to use color, because color is defined for the property. If you see, we have the color as the property. The same applies to this place also. So echo apple color. That is awesome. So banana color, the apple color. Awesome. So go to my browser and refresh. We have green, blue, apple, banana. So alternative way for you to get this is directly, instead of using this. I will just take it out. Instead of taking it out, comment, and comment. So click on save, go to the browser. As you can see, we have the same result that we have in the previous one. Awesome. So this is how you can also get your value without pointing to a method, just to fasten your work, fasten the process of your development. Okay. So click on save and you are good to go. So after this has been added, also you can write the comment, added direct connection to property. Yeah, so added direct connection to property, push it to GitHub, and that has been pushed. Okay, so this is awesome. So in the next selection, we are going to learn more amazing things. Thank you for staying by. See you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning about OOP constructor. So what is OOP constructor? A constructor allows us to initialize an object properties upon the creation of the object. If we create with underscore construct function, PHP will automatically call this function when an object is created from a class. As you can see, we have underscore added to the name itself. So let's look at the example below to tell the exact thing that we are talking about. As you can see, this construct is added so that we don't have to be using set name. It's going to help us optimize this code without having to have set name, set color, It's going to help us reduce the code base, so without having to have a bunch of code that are not really important when you can optimize it. So let's dive straight to code and try to add this to it. Sorry about that. Let me open it again. PHPAdvance. Okay, so we have it here. Sorry about that. There's an update to my VS Code. Okay, I think this should stay down. Awesome. So now, as you can see, we have set name, we have set color. So now these two methods, we are going to optimize it. We are going to take it out by using the constructs method. So with the constructs, we are going to set the name automatically on instantiation mode. As we make an instance of it to an object, we are going to automatically set the name, set the color. So to do that, we are going to pass it here, construct. So we are going to use construct public function underscore construct, and within this place we are going to pass our name and also our color. So we are trying to optimize the dates. We are trying to optimize our code base without having to write long list of code that we don't really need when we can optimize it. So within this place we are going to move this value down to the construct area where we pass the name and also the color that we're going to be passing. So the same applies to this color. I will cut this from here and pass it down to this place. Okay, so the set name is going to be removed and the set color is going to be what? Removed. Then set color, set name is going to be removed from here. The same applies here. Okay, so we have two methods, set name, set color. So these two guys, we are going to pass it to this place. As you can see, the first one is what? The first one is name and the second one is color based on the construct. So this set name, we pass it to this place, and this is going to be referencing to this name that we have here, and we are going to have comma just like we have comma here. Then we pass the color name. So the color name is what? Blue. Okay, pass the blue and delete this. Now our code is now short, not long like before. The same applies here, banana, and the name and the color is going to be green. Okay, so delete this guy. Now as you can see, our code is now reduced. So if I save it now, you are going to discover that it's still doing the same thing. So let me go to my browser and try to run this. As you can see, it's still the same thing. Let me update it so that you can see the difference. Okay, as you can see, banana 2, apple what? Apple 2. So this is how to pass the constructs, which is going to help you optimize your code. So the way constructs work is it will trigger as you instantiate your class to an object. So you can just pass whatever you want to pass into it without having to pass it to a different method. And if you want to use method, so be it, you can also go for that, but this is just an option based on the possibility of the class. Okay guys, see you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section you are going to be learning about PHP OOP destructor. So what is destructor? Destructor is called when the object is destructed or the script is what is existed. So how this destructor simply works is opposite of how the constructor work. With our constructor, this will automatically trigger this functionality for us anytime we make an instance of the class into an object, which is object apple, object banana. This will automatically run, that is, the constructor will automatically run, and our parameter is going to be sent down to the constructor. Now for the destructor is going to only work when the script is done executing. That is, after everything has run from the method down to anywhere you want it to work to, then after everything has been done, the destructor is now going to trigger. So let's move on. If you create a destruct method, PHP will automatically call this function at the end of the script, just as I explained. And notice that the destruct function starts with 2 underscore. The example below has a construct function that is automatically called when you create an object from a class, just as we explained, and a destruct method function that is automatically called at the end of the script. Oh yes. Okay, so here now we already learned how this work. So what we want to do now is to learn how this destruct work. So I'm going to be starting my server because I actually stopped my server to start all over the program. So now my server is starting. So over here I'm going to type PHPAdvance. Okay, so let me zoom my screen. So we're going to be now pointing down to the destruct method. So I'm going to go back to my VS Code, and instead of echoing what we have here, I'm not going to echo here. Instead, I'm going to use the destruct to echo. So let me comment all this. Comment. Okay, so we have an instance of apple and also an instance of banana. Everything is instantiated to the variable that we have here. So at the end of this place, I'm going to introduce destruct. So destruct is going to automatically run. So you can write destruct. Okay, we don't have anything that relates to that, so let me just write it manually. Destruct. So underscore destruct. Underscore destruct. Sorry. Okay, I think that is correct. And here we are going to pass in our what echo, the variable that we are sending. The fruit is what this name, and the color is what this name. Awesome. So automatically the destruct is going to trigger this for us without us printing down to this place. So let's click on save, Ctrl S, and go back to the browser, reload the page. What do we get? Awesome. The fruit is banana 2. Oh yes, it's banana 2. As you can see, banana 2. And the color is green. The fruit is apple 2, and the color is what? Blue. The reason why we have to text merging together is because of the two instances that we are actually making here into an object. That is where we have that duplicate. So here I can easily pass echo break tag so that we can have separate line, as you can see. So we make an instance here, and we also make an instance here. So if I take out this instance, we are only going to be seeing apple. As you can see, that is exactly what is happening. If I take out this guy, is going to also only work on banana. So the destruct will automatically run once everything has been passed in the class. That is, once the script is done executing, it's only then destruct function is going to work. So guys, please if you don't understand this simple explanation, please comment below and I will do my best to explain it all. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current lesson. See you in my next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning about OOP access modifier. Okay, so to get started, we are going to be starting from here. Properties and method can have access modifier, which controls where they can be accessed. Okay, so there are 3 types of access modifier. The first one is public, the second one is protected, and the last one is private. So for the public, the property or method that has public can be accessed from everywhere. Actually, this is default. You know, once you create a method or a property and you don't set any modifiers to it, it taps into public automatically. So the next one is protected. So protected is applied to property or method, and once this is applied, it can only be accessed within the class and any classes that is derived from the same class that you added the modifiers to. In the future, you are going to learn how that really happened, but let's give you the intro so that you know what the protected modifier does. Okay, and the last one, which is private. The private is applied to properties or method, and once this is applied, it can only be accessed within the class. Even though you derived from the same class, it will not work. It will only work within the class that you declared it. So that means you want it personal. You don't want anyone to share it with. You don't want to share it with any class. You don't want to share with any external source. Within you and you only. Okay, so let's now move on to the next one. So here we have, in the following example, we have added 3 different access modifier to the 3 properties. That is the name, the color, and also the weight. Here, if you try to set the property, it will work fine because the name property is public and can be accessed from everywhere. However, if you try to set the color or the weight property, it will result in a fatal error because the color and also the weights are protected and private. Okay, so what we have here is if you make an instance of this class, that is, you try to tap into the properties and the data of this current class outside the class, and you try to modify the existing property color and property weight, which is protected and private, is going to result into a fatal error because it is not public. But for the one that is public, which is this name, you can set a new value once you make an instance of the class, and it's going to work perfectly. So now let's deep down into this example in our VS Code so that we have full knowledge on how that really works. So what I'm gonna do is this place I'm going to take out what we have here down to this place. Okay, let me just take it down to this place, delete this guy and comment this guy, sorry. comment this guy, comment this guy, comment this guy, comment this guy. So here we have public and we need to set color to private, sorry, protected. So this is protected and weight is going to be private, so let's set weight to private. Okay, so now we have public, we have protected, and we have the private. Okay, so I'm going to move down to the instance area where we have instance of the class into this Apple variable. So I'm going to take out this constructor parameters. Then here I'm going to set the name for the Apple. So name, it will be new name. Let's call this new name. Then we have tapped into the word into the name. Then for the color also we tap into new color, and for the weight we tap into new weight, which is let's call this 12 kg, which is the new weight, and the color is going to be blue. Yeah, so click on save and let's go back to our code and let's see if this is going to work. Refresh. As you can see, we have fatal error because we already stated that it's going to give a fatal error. Now it's going to say cannot access protected property color. Yes, it will not work. As you can see, color is what's protected and it's not going to be accessed outside the class, which is this class fruits. And the next one says, okay, we actually have this error thrown and the next error did not even come up. So let me comment this color and let's see the next. As you can see, cannot access private property, another error. So this is how this works, and by the time I comment these two guys, okay, comment them and leave only that guy, is going to be blank because we did not echo. So if I echo this name, Apple name, then it's going to display the name we just set for the property because it is public. Let me call this Apple. Yeah, so let's see. As you can see, it work. We set a new value for the property because it's public and it work just like normal ones. Okay, so all this is not going to work because it's outside the class, but if you trigger it within the class, it's going to work. Okay guys, let's move on to the next example. I think we have more example that we can pass here, which is for the method. So here we have a method of public and a method of protected and a method of private. So let's also do the same for the method. So over here I have get name, set name. So let me just use get name and set name. Where is the set name? We have get name. Okay, let's just do the get color. No, let me use set name. So set name, we have the set name. So get name is going to be public by default and here is going to be protected. Okay, and for the get color, let's make get color private. Yeah, let's make get color private. So now we have everything completed: public, protected, and also private. So I'm going to comment this guy and let's now work with the method. So apple set name. Don't forget, set name is what's protected. So without even running it already showed the error. Undefined method set name. Sorry, undefined method set name. Is it not? Okay, it is actually defined, but the problem is it's trying to access it because it's protected, so it's unable to get it. So let's use get name now, and let's see if get name is not going to give an error. So we have not even execute, we already have the error. So get name actually work. Okay, how about the get private? I'm very sure get private is not going to work, which is get color under private. So let's see. So without even running it, we already see the error. Can you see? Undefined method is not seeing it because it's outside. It's outside the class. If it's within the class, it's going to work. So if I save this now and I try to run it, so let me go to the browser. It's going to be a fatal error. As you can see, it is an error. So let's go back to our code. As you can see, a call to protected method. Protected set name is protected. So if I also do the get color, it's going to say call to private method. So private method is what we have as get color. So it will not work. But if I change this guy now to public, you're gonna see it's going to work. As you can see, it is now what's working. This is amazing. This is amazing. This is amazing. So now this is how access modifier work. This is how access modifier work. And if you need more explanation or more understanding on this, please reach out, and I will definitely do my best to give you the best of the answer. Okay guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning about PHP OOP inheritance. So what is inheritance? We know that once a child class is derived from a parent class, it is automatically called an inheritance. So as a child, once it's derived, it's going to automatically inherit the public and the protected, except the private properties and method. Okay, so from the parent class. In addition, it can have its own properties and method also declared. So an inherited class is defined by using the extend keyword. Okay, so let's take a look at this simple class declaration and also the strawberry class declaration extended the fruits. So here we have a class of fruits, property of name with public access, and also the color with the public access, this constructor method with the public access, and the public intro, public function intro, which is the public access, can be accessed from anywhere. So we have this strawberry class that is being declared as a new class, and it extends the fruits, which means it has the ability to tap into the name, the color, the constructor, and also the intro. Oh yes, so once this extends this class of fruits, it will automatically have the ability to tap onto this thing, except it is on private. Protected, we still have access. Strawberry will still have access to protected function, protected properties, and protected constructor. It will still have access to it, but once it is private, it will not be possible. Okay, so let's now copy this code and paste it into our VS Code. I'm going to click Ctrl C and take it down to my VS Code and override what I have here. So we can have something fresh to see. Okay, so now we have class fruit declared and the property of name, property of color, just like our previous example. And we have the constructor. I'm very sure you know how this works, including this method we have here. You know how it works. Okay, so now we now have a new class entirely, strawberry, and this strawberry is extending this fruit class, which is this fruit class that we have here. And the reason why this strawberry is extending this fruit class is because of the properties this fruit class has. Strawberry wants to make use of all these properties and method inside its own area without having to recreate it again from scratch. So once it tap into these fruits, we can reuse everything we have here in this strawberry class. And also strawberry added its own method, which is method of message. Okay, so now let's now save this and let's see the magic. I'm going to comment this intro for now and let's see. So if I run this code, this strawberry constructor is going to be tapping to the parent constructor, because this strawberry does not have a constructor that can return this data to this parameter. So instead, it's going to be tapping into the constructor of fruits. As you can see, we have the name and the color, just like what we have here in the fruit area. So strawberry is tapping into the constructor, and at the same time we are printing this message coming from the strawberry and not from the fruit area. Okay, so I'm going to click on save and go to my browser, then refresh this page. As you can see, am I a fruit or berry? Automatically you are a berry. Okay, so now this message works as expected. You can add more message to this. We can add addition. Let's just call this addition. So we accept the number. Let's just accept num1 and num2. Okay, so num2, sorry, variable num2. So this guy is going to echo num1 and num2. So let's just do another method just for you to see how this works. So I'm going to tap into this addition, pass the num1 and num2, which is 5 and 10, and this should result to 15. Now as you can see, we have what, 15. So you can pass any custom method of your choice if you want. Okay, so now tapping back to the fruit class that we are extending. So let's now print this name, let's print this color from what we are sending down to this constructor. So let's first print this before we tap into the method. So I'm going to be tapping into this name and also into this color from strawberry. Okay, don't forget we already sent the name to the fruit class as strawberry and the color as red. So here I'm going to be tapping into that. I'm going to say echo strawberry, then name. So this name should actually show strawberry. So if I click on save now and go back to my browser, we have what, strawberry. So let me take out this addition. We don't, so that it's not going to disturb our screen. So we have strawberry, which means it's working. And don't forget, we did not have name properties in our strawberry, so we are tapping into this fruit's data, that is the property. So I have strawberry and I want to also print the color. As you can see, we have what, we have red. So this shows that this is working as expected because it is public and not private, or are not private. But if it is protected, it will still work. But if you are trying to access it using a protected format like this, if this is protected, it's not going to work. So don't bother, as long as it is still pointing directly outside the instantiation, it's not going to work. But if I tap into this guy within this strawberry area and it is protected, it's going to work. But once it's outside, it's not going to work. Let me show you. So if I change this to protected and not just private, so protected, and call this also protected. If I save it and we try to print it, it's not going to work because it's outside. But what we have here, this name and color, if I pass it down to this place, let me pass it down to this place. Let me pass it down to message, So under message section, the way we are going to print this is going to be this functionality. We are going to use this keyword and this is going to work, watch, because it's inside this place. Let me add break tag, okay, sorry, break tag, awesome. So if I call in message method, it's going to work because it's still inside strawberry, and the method that we're pointing directly to, which is message, is public, is not protected, so it will work outside. So if I call this now, message, you're gonna see we have what strawberry and we have what red. So protected will work here, but if it is private, guy, it's not going to work. Let's change it to private. It's not going to work. It's not going to work if you are trying to extend. So private, save it. As you can see, undefined properties. So with protected, it's going to work once you extend it and get point it directly with using the this keyword. Is going to work with this way. You see the way it look like it's going to work. And let's also test this intro. Copy this, and if I pass the intro into this place, don't forget the intro is what public, so it's going to work also. As you can see, it's working. But if I change this to protected, it's not going to work. Protected, sorry. So if I save it, you're going to see it's not going to work. But if I point directly to this guy, we already have echo here, so I will not use echo again. I'll just point to that guy, which is intro. So this, then intro. So this is going to work. Watch. So let me tap into this message and not intro, because intro is not protected. So if you check, as you can see, it is working. And if I edit this guy, you're going to see the changes because it is now calling from the extend functionality. Okay, so I hope you understand what we just explained here. Please and please, if you don't understand, please and please comment below. Please and please. Okay guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current lesson. See you in my next video. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning about OOP, inheritance, methods, and property overriding. But in this case, we are only overriding a method. Okay, but with the same method and the same syntax that you use to override the method, you can also use it to override the properties. So here we have inherited methods can be overridden by redefining the method with the same name that is being used to declare it in the parent area. Okay, so let's look at this example. As you can see, we have all this declared: the name, the color, the constructor, and also the intro, just like the previous one. But after everything has been declared, we want strawberry to override what we have here in the constructor, and we have this declared a new constructor entirely, which is construct of name, color, and a new property is added to strawberry just to make sure it's being modified. And we have this. Okay, so once there is an instance of strawberry, we are going to pass down this to strawberry custom constructor method, and once this entered, is going to apply the weight to the new weight property that is declared over here. Okay, so this method also intro that is already declared at the parent area, after it's being redeclared here, it's going to override the parent and is going to fall back to this place. I hope you understand that. Okay, so without further ado, let's copy this example and paste it into our PHP class. So Ctrl C, go to my PHP section, and okay, so since we already have these layouts, what I'm gonna do is just tap into what we are just talking about. So first, I'm going to introduce this constructor in my strawberry. So let me pass it here. Before I pass the constructor, let me pass the weights, the public weight. So public variable weight, and the weight is going to be declared as a public property. And after that is declared, we have the constructor. The constructor is going to be declared, which is public. So function enter. Ctrl Z underscore construct. Okay, this is declared. So the first one is going to accept the name. Okay, we have that declared for us by autopilot, just like what we want to pass. So we have the name, the color, the weight. So this weight is going to be tapping into this new property that we just declared as public. Okay, so now after we pass this constructor, it's going to override the parent that we extend. It's going to override everything that we have here, because we now redeclared the constructor, but we are still tapping into the color, we are still tapping into the name, so that will still work as expected. So the next one we're going to tap into is this intro. You see this intro, we are going to take it out from here so that we don't have a clash. Then I'm going to copy this intro and paste it into this place as a public and not protected. So let's call this public. So it doesn't matter what data type of the modifier is going to override once you repeat the same name method, the same name of the method or the property here is going to override it. So don't bother yourself, don't worry. So let's now reprint what we have as the weight, the name, and also the color. So save. So we have the fruit is name, the color is name, and the weight is also this name. Awesome. So if I click on save now and we run this code, making an instance of the strawberry, passing the name, the color, and also the weight, then we are going to tap into this intro and this should work. So first let's send the name as strawberry and the color as red, and the weight is going to be what? So what weight will you use? Let's use weight of 30 kg. Okay, so here we don't have message anymore, instead we have intro. So I tap into the intro and this is going to work. So if I click on save, we are going to see that this is going to override without giving us any error. So I'm going to go to my code and refresh. As you can see, it's working. The fruit is strawberry, the color is red, and the weight is 30 kg. Okay, so okay, sorry, we already have gram, imagine. So click on save. Okay, awesome. So now if I comment this method and save it, it's going to fall back to what we have here by passing the name and also the color. So if I click on refresh, as you can see, it's not working because it's protected. Sorry, we are trying to access protected method outside the instance, outside the class. Okay, so it will not work. So let's call it public. So after changing it to public, this should work. So this works as a parent, and by the time we uncomment what we have here, is going to override the words the parents, and we are going to be giving the strawberry method. So this is how you can override a method or a property that you inherited from another class. So I believe this is very simple to achieve, and if you have any question, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I will definitely do my best to make sure you understand how this method overriding work. Okay guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in my next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In the previous section we learned about extending a class and how you can override your methods and also properties. Okay, so in this section you are going to be learning how to prevent method overriding using the final keyword. Okay, so to get started with the first example, you are going to see that there is a new attachment added to the class declaration as the final keyword. So once a final is added to a declaration of a class, it will not allow an extend, that is, you can inherit it on another class. It will not be possible. And the same applies to method. If final is added to a public method or whatever method it is protected, it will not allow extension. That is, you can't even override it. It will give an error. Okay, so now let's dive straight to the example by starting with the class. So here now we have class fruits. By default, everything that we have here is working. It is what we used in our previous section. So if I refresh my screen, as you can see, it is working. But if I pass from final keyword down to this class declaration and I click on save, you're gonna see the error. As you can see, class strawberry may not inherit from final class because it is not possible. I have restricted the fruit from passing his data, his content, and the method he has to another class. With the final keyword is going to restrict it. It will only be used by fruit and fruit only. Nobody is going to have access to it. But if I take out this final keyword and I click on save, it will work again. So this same applies to the intro. this intro that we have here, we actually override this intro by reinitializing it or redeclaring it in the strawberry class. So I'm going to pass final keyword to this intro method that we have here as a public method. So if I click on save and we try to override it, as you can see, without even running the code, we already have an error. It's already saying method strawberry intro cannot override final keyword fruits, so it will not work. So without executing this code, the code has already executed itself. So if I click on save and I go to the browser to refresh, you are going to see the error, cannot override final method fruits intro. That is intro method. So it will not work. That is, we don't allow this guy to be taking and overriding functionality. But by the time we take out this guy, take out the final, and we click on save, you're gonna see that it's going to work. As you can see, it is working as expected. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in my next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning about class constants in OOP. Constants cannot be changed once it is declared. Class constants can be useful if you need to define some constant data within a class. A class constant is declared inside a class with the const keyword. A class constants are case sensitive. However, it is recommended to name all the constants that you are trying to declare in an uppercase letter, and we can access a constant from outside the class by using the class name followed by the scope resolution operator, which is what we have here, and followed by the constant name like what we have here. And as you can see, we have this class declare, class goodbye, with a constant declaration of living message, and we pass in the direct value to it, which is what thank you for visiting what htaccess. And to access it, we use this syntax to do the to get the message and print it to the user. So let's make a declaration of a constant with a random message over here. So we have class fruits, and don't forget we are extending class fruits in our strawberry. So anything I declared here, we automatically gives us opportunity to use it over there. Now as you can see, we have const and the capital letter living message. So I'm going to write const living. I'm going to write const living underscore message. Then the message is going to be thank you for visiting htaccess.com, though it's not necessary, but here we have a random text generated by the copilots, so this is also great. So this is declared under the fruit class. Then I'm going to echo it from this area. So I'm going to say echo strawberry, then tap into the constant living message. So click on save, and this is going to print it on our screen. If I refresh now, you're going to see it now. Can you see? Thank you for visiting our fruit stand. So this is cool. Now proceeding to the next one. Now as you can see, we say or we can access a constant from inside the class by using the self keyword followed by the scope resolution operator and followed by the constant name like what we have here. So we can do something like this also. So I'm going to declare a new method, bye. So let me go to my VS Code and declare the new method, bye, and let's see how that is going to help us. So I'm going to declare this method in the strawberry class, which is depending on fruit class. So over here, I'm going to do the declaration here. We are going to have bye here. So bye, okay. So function bye. Then enter. Then within this place we have what echo living message. Awesome. Now as you can see, we are tapping into this constant value using the self keyword. So with this self keyword is going to help us access the living message, and this is also same application to static method, but in the future we're going to learn how to do that. So after this has been returned to bye, then I'm going to copy bye and tap into bye from the intro. So instead of intro, I'm going to override it to bye, and I'm going to click on save. So go back to the browser. Let's see the magic. So if I click on refresh, as you can see, thank you for visiting our fruit stand. So it will work. So this is the simple way you can tap into your constant data from the parent class and also from the child class. Okay, so and don't forget, constant is declared once and you can't change the value. Okay guys, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this current section. See you in my next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new amazing section. In this section, we are going to be learning about abstract class in object-oriented. So what are abstract classes? Methods. Abstract classes and method are when the parent class has a named method but needs its child classes to fill out the task. That is, you declare a method without passing any execution code in it, and you depend on your child classes to fill out that gap for you. That is overriding your method and initializing the tags that is going to be executed by the method or the class. Okay, so an abstract class is a class that contains at least one abstract method. It has to have at least one and not empty. One abstract method. An abstract method is a method that is declared but is not implemented in the code. Just as I've explained, you declare the method but you had no execution code in it. Okay, an abstract class or method is defined with abstract keyword. So that is an example we have here: abstract class parent class. Then we have abstract public function, some method 1, some method 2, and here we have the parameter and the second parameter. So, and also on abstract class you can pass in your named your typed variable. That is what you want this some method 3 to return is a string. We normally do this a lot in that programming language, which is used as an explicit mode. That is, you define the kind of data you want the method to return. In this case, is returning string, is not returning an integer. So in that, we also have several versions like that. Okay, so moving on to the next one. When inheriting from an abstract class, the child class method must be defined with the same name that is overriding it and the same or less restricted access modifier. So if the abstract method is defined as protected, the child class must be also defined as either protected or public, but not private because it is coming from the parent area. Also, the type number of required arguments must be the same. However, the child classes may have optional arguments in addition. Okay, so when a child class is inherited from an abstract class, we have the following rules. So the first one, the child class method must be defined with the same name and it redeclares the parent abstract method. Then the child class must be defined as the same or less restricted access modifier. The number of required arguments must be the same. However, the child class may have optional arguments in addition. So let's take a look at this great example that we have here. So here we have a parent class of abstract class of car and a public method of name. Public property of name, and we have the public function of our construct sending in the name that we are declaring on this property area. Then after the name is received here, we override the name to this new value of name coming from the constructor area. Then after that has been declared, we also declared a new method which is abstract public function intro, and this intro is returning a string data type. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we have the class or which is the child class extending the parent class of car. Okay, and the parent class of car is an abstract. So after extending this, for us to use this method intro, we need to now redeclare it again, just as we explained earlier. So redeclaring that is going to take this kind of method overriding that is declaring it again all over in the child class. So after this has been declared, we have to specify the data type that we are returning. So after specifying that, then we pass in the data and return the string data that we just declared. So, and this variable we have here is pointing directly to the parent class, which is the name that we have here. So we point to this name after we declare this abstract class of a car. Once there is an object that is being initialized, the car is going to be sent down to the construct, and this is going to return to the name. Don't worry, we are going to do an example. So this is the child class 1 for Audi, and another child class Volvo extend the car. So do the same thing also here. We do the same thing here, and we do the same thing also here. So now creating an object from the child classes. So to create an object from child classes, we are going to point directly to the name of the child class and not to the parent. So while pointing to the child, we are going to be sending this value to the parent. I hope you understand how that works. Just like we have new Audi, so this new Audi is going to be referencing to this guy and sending those value in the constructor area is going to be seen the parent constructor. Okay, so after this has been sent down, then the object inherits everything that we are sending down to the Audi area. So after this has been sent, it is this intro method that we have in the Audi area that is going to work, because we already override the method. That's method overriding. So we override the method of the car, which is our abstract method. As you can see, we override it. Okay, so after this has been declared, we have this, and this is the result, because this intro return the string. The same applies to the rest of it. So let's copy what we have here and work on the example. So to do that, I'm going to be opening my VS Code. It's been a while I record, so let me quit my existing project on my VS Code and try to see if my PHPAdvance is there. Okay, it is not there, so I will just need to go to my Finder, go to my htaccess and drag my PHPAdvance again down to my VS Code. So sorry guys. So for you that you already have the file open, so you don't need to drag, just open it. So if I zoom this now, you are going to find what we worked on in the previous section. So this is exactly what we worked on in the previous section. So let me enable my GitHub Copilots. You can also do the same. You can enable your GitHub Copilots, though it is $10 per month, so I paid for it. It is paid. So after this has been opened, so let's now do the simple practical of the abstract class. So we already have a class here. We have a class fruits, and we extend the fruits class by doing something like this. So what we're going to do in this case now, we're just going to drag everything here, or comment it all. Let's comment everything and create a new class here so that we can have something great. So here we're going to be defining an abstract class. So we're going to call abstract class. Then the class is going to be let's say what should we call this class? First name. Sorry, let's call it first name, or just let's just call it car. I think car is going to be very good. So abstract class car, and here we're going to have a public name, public variable name. It's going to be undeclared, just a regular public name, a regular public property. So after that has been declared, we need to declare a constructor, which is very important. So the constructor is going to be public constructor. So the public constructor is going to accept name variable. So let's pass this as name variable, and here we are going to override our property name to this new value that is coming in from the instantiation of the method area. So after this has been declared, then we need to now introduce our abstract method. So now let's go back to the document, just make sure we are on the same track. So this is what we just did. We declared this when we declared this. So this is what we're working on next, and we're going to be passing the type declaration. So let's go back to our VS Code and let's do that. So here we're going to have intro method. So here we're going to have abstract public function intro. So this is going to pass in the data type declaration that we are returning back to where we are sending it to. So this string here tells that this method can only return a string. It can return an integer, it can return a boolean, neither a float that is double. Okay, so it is only this string that is going to be returned. So after this has been declared, the next thing is to declare a child class. So here we're going to have our child class. So child classes. So the child class that we're going to have here is going to be class. So we already have it generated for us, class, or the extend what car, and here we point directly to the method we are overriding, and here we have a choose German quality. I am on the name that we passed. Okay, the name that we passed down to the constructor, then it's going to show the name. Okay, so I'm going to click on save, and here we have another class, so another child class. This is going to be Volvo. I think this is awesome. Let's do another class. So another class, another child class. So here we have Syntron. So I think this is awesome. This is great. So if you want to, if you are thinking, how did I generate this? Quick suggestion. It's very simple. Just go to GitHub. So go to your extension area and search for GitHub. You're going to find it. Copilot. Just search Copilot. So with Copilot, you are going to be given access to do this exact things, but don't forget there is subscription required, so you need to pay $10 monthly. So I pay $10 monthly just to make sure this is coming up. Okay, so I'm going to click on save, and here we are going to initialize the method. So create object from the child classes. Awesome. So now let's create the object from the child classes. So here, the first one that we have here is Audi. So we're going to our variable Audi equals to what? New Audi. So this Audi, we are going to be sending it down to the parent constructor. Don't forget, the child class doesn't have a constructor, so it is the parent that we're sending it to, and the parent is going to accept it and override the property name, and this name is going to be used down in our child classes. Okay, and this method is going to be overriding using method overriding functionality. So here we override the method here, and we pass in the data that we are returning. As you can see, this is a string data type that we are returning back. If I type here as integer, it's not going to work. So if I call this integer int, sorry, okay, yeah, it's actually correct, but the reason why it's not working is because the type integer is not going for type string. But if I change this to 20, now it's going to work. So let me change it to 20, change this to integer, so that you understand what I'm talking about. Change it to integer and change this to also integer. Okay, we have mixture of data. So okay, to best understand it, let me do it this way. So let me just create a new one. Int data type. So data type. So we are going to declare a new one with integer. Okay, so sorry about that. It is int, not integer directly. So after this has been declared, now we can just pass it down to this place as the int data type. So we return 1 or 20, just as I've explained. So we can also do the same here, passing the int data type. So that is the different data type that you can pass. So we have the int and we have the float. So let's see the float. Let's see how the float look like. So float data type. Let's see. Okay, this floats. Awesome. So this is float, and we have the boolean data type, and this is bool. Awesome. I think that is okay. We have an array data type, yes, and we have object data type. Let's see the object data type, objects, and we have callable data type. Oh yes, this is awesome. So with GitHub Copilot, you are going to be exposed to several versions of it. So that is just the best part of GitHub Copilot. This self data type is not declared, so just check it out. This is going to be stopped at the iterable. So for now, in this course, we are going to be working with object, array, boolean, floats, integer, and string. So callable, we are not working on callable, and we are not working on iterable. So let's just check it out and let's continue what we are working on. So it is an amazing time with GitHub Copilot, though. It is really great. It is really awesome to have it while you are writing your code. It is really awesome. Okay, so now after passing this, let me also pass this what's it called, property number, so the number that you just want to send down to that place, so that you can also do the same thing. So here we're just going to send number because we added a number to that. So the constructor is going to accept number, and the number is going to override the existing value. Okay, save it, and within this integer area we are going to be returning the number and not this number. So let's return number. Okay, so return number. Okay, number is returned. So here we're going to pass in number 50. So after that has been passed, here we are going to what, do the same for Volvo, do the same for Citron. Then here we can now what, echo, get the value. So we are going to do echo intro, and also add a break tag echo for the intro of Volvo. So all this is still under intro. Now for the number area, for the int value, so this is the int break tag. Okay, so this is going well. So this is also for the Citron. So if I click save now, our code is now saved. So let's go to Google Chrome and open our new tab, localhost PHP advance. So let me take it down to PHP underscore advance. Sorry. Okay, so here we have all these declared. As you can see, we have choose Germany quality. I am an Audi, so Audi is declared, Volvo is declared, Citron is declared, just as we passed it down to this place. Citron, can you see? So if I give it a space, it's going to add a space. So everything is working as expected. Everything is working as expected. Awesome. So let me add a break tag also here. So BR. Okay, so close your statement, click on save, refresh. As you can see, everything is working as expected. So our abstract class is now working just as the way we expect it to work. So I think that is all the documents that we have here. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current video. Thank you. So let's take this example explain. The Audi, the Volvo, the Citron classes are inherited from the car class. This means that the Audi, Volvo and the Citron classes can use the public name. Yes, on our own side we added the number to it, also property, as well as the public construct method from the car class because of inheritance. Oh yes, so they inherit it. But intro is an abstract method that should be defined in all the child classes, and they should return a string data type. Awesome. Okay, so we also add that we add number also to our own code without limiting ourselves to intro. We also add an int. Awesome. So this is how you can declare your abstract class. So let me save this to my GitHub so that you can have access to it. So added abstract class. Okay, so click on Mac and let's push to GitHub, so you can get the source code also on GitHub. This has been saved. So guys, see you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section you are going to be learning about OOP interface. What are interface? Interface allow you to specify what methods a class should implement. Interface make it easy to use a variety of different classes on the same way. That is, you declare your method in a single interface file and you implement it on a different kind of class you declared. So all the class you declared can be following the same format of the method that has been declared in your interface. Okay, so when one or more classes use the same interface, it is referred as polymorphism. Okay, that is when one or more classes use the same interface, it is referred as polymorphism. Okay, so that is for the interface, and interface are declared with the interface keyword. So example is what we have here. We have interface name, and here we have the first method, second method, and also the third method. So this looks like the declaration that we have on the abstract class in the previous section. Yes, it looked like that. So it's kind of similar, but in this case you don't have to add abstract, so don't bother yourself by adding an abstract. It is okay like this, and it's going to be seen as abstract by default. Okay, So to continue, and don't forget, this doesn't use protected, so it is public. It is public. It is public, protected, and not private. So you can use private here, just the same as the abstract class. You can use private. It is public and protected. Okay. So the difference between interface and abstract class. What are the difference? Interface are similar to abstract classes. The difference between interface and abstract classes are: the first one is interface cannot have properties, so we can't declare properties here. It's only a method. While abstract classes can declare properties, that is property name, property color, property number. So all interface method must be public. Okay, as you can see, why abstract classes method is public or protected, and the other time I told you this can be protected, but so sorry about that, it has to be public. Okay, so that it must be public. So all method in an interface are abstract by default, so everything is abstract by default. It is invisible, but it is optional to omit it. You don't need to drop it in, but as you can see, this method is declared in an abstract method. Okay, all methods in interface are abstract, so they cannot be implemented in code. An abstract keyword is not necessary, just as I explained just now. Abstract keyword is not necessary. So classes can implement an interface while inheriting from another class at the same time. That is, you can implement an interface and at the same time extend another class. It is very, very possible. Okay, so now let's now go to the example. Here we have using interface. To implement an interface, a class must use the implement keyword to bring in an interface to the class that you are declaring. So you need to use implement keyword to bring it in. So a class that implements an interface must implement all of its interface method. So once we implement the interface, all the methods coming from the interface will automatically be applied to the class that we implemented on. Okay, so here is a simple illustration on how this is work. So as you can see, we have an interface animal, and the interface has a method of make sound, and here we have a class of cats, and we implement this animal on this cat class. So that is, we bring in this method, this abstract method, into this cat class. Then after bringing it into this place, then we echo what the string data, because in this kind of data format we are not returning anything. It is dynamic. As you can see, it is not specified to any data type, so this is dynamic data type. So we echo what mail, so automatically this is going to return what the syntax that is being echoed from here. Okay, so now let's copy this example and let's run it on our VS Code. So I'll copy that, go to my VS Code, and over here I'm going to take everything that we have here. I'm going to comment it all, so I will not be deleting it again, so that you guys can have access to it on my GitHub, so that you can reference to it in the future. So I'm just going to comment, control /, click on save. Then I'm going to take this down, and here I'm going to define interface. Okay, so here we are going to have interface. Then here we are going to call this interface animal. I'm very sure about that. Is it animal? Yes, animal. So interface animal, then implementing on a cat, interface animal. Okay, so the first one is a simple logic. Let's just call this make sound. Awesome. So this is make sound, and we are going to declare this child classes. So define child class, define child class. So the child class is going to be cats. So cats implement animal. I think GitHub Copilot is listening to my mic, so I think that is where he's getting this cat from. Okay, so if you have Copilot also, you can also try to test it, that is going to work. Okay, so here we have the interface, and here we have the cards. So we have basically the example we have so far. Then here we are going to instantiate this now. So make an instance of the class. So we have cards, new cards, and here we are going to what? We are going to point to the method of make sound, because we are overriding this method inside this class because we are using an implement mode. So if I click on save and I go to my browser, where is it? Then over here click on refresh. As you can see, we have what mail. So this is working as expected, and we can have another one called let's just have another one that is going to return a specific data type, just like the one we worked on in the previous section. So here I'm going to refer to the it, and here we are going to return. So once we have this kind of data type that is being declared, you need to return. So here we are going to echo, because we are returning this value down to this place. So we echo it as it. So here let me introduce break tag. So echo break tag, echo break tag. Okay, click on save, go back to your browser, refresh, and you're going to see what we have here. We have meal, and cat is what cat is eating. So this is working as expected. So this is how to implement an interface on a class. And so you can also have several classes to do the same functionality. So define another class dog. So this dog is going to have something similar to what we just added. So break tag declare for the dog. So here we are going to have dog instance. So dog instance. So here we have the dog, and we have make sound. We have also the eat. So everything is working as expected. If I click on save, go back to my browser and click on refresh, as you can see for the dog, this is also working. So this is how interface works. So now let's continue from the example above. Let's say that we would like to write a software which manage a group of animal. So these are blah blah blah. So this is combination with an array. So in the future we are going to be working on adding a combination and an array, but array is defined in my other courses. Please guys, I'm not talking about basic PHP programming in this course. I will not do that, never. I will not do that. So please and please, if you want to take the basic programming, go to AKSQ and purchase my basic course, because this course that we are working on currently, this PHPAdvance, is for advanced class, entirely advanced, nothing like amateur mode at all. So let me search for this PHP so that you are going to see what I'm talking about. So let me click on search so that you have the understanding of what I'm saying. This is the course here, backend web development. So this backend web development is for beginners. So this course is going to help you understand the basic knowledge on PHP. So I talked about array, I talked about data type, I talked about a lot of things in this course. So let me check the course content. As you can see, we have everything. In fact, we even created a project. We created a payment gateway. We created a 2 payment gateway into an e-commerce project. So this is going to help you understand data types. As you can see, everything is here: array, boolean, float. So everything is illustrated in this course, and I cannot repeat myself doing it again in the advanced course. So please and please take this course if you don't understand an array in PHP. So this is going to help you understand that. So going back to what we are doing so far, here we have an animal. So what really happened here is this object is declared, and after the object has been declared, then the instance is returned to an array, and this array is looped through inside this for each, then pointing to the method of make sound. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand, this for each also, I used it here, looping. We used everything in this place. So guys, please and please, if you don't understand this, go take my basic course in PHP. It's going to really help you achieve that. So let me do this example so that you have the understanding. So here we have 3 classes declared, and we implement animal. So let me add another class so that we can have at least 3 declarations. So here we have mouse. So click on save, and I'm going to delete exactly what I have here. So I'm going to make an instance of the cat, the dog, and also the mouse. Then here we are going to add objects to array. So we are going to have add object to an array. So we're going to add everything to an array, and this is going to be accepted an array. So array can be declared using this format array, or using this short syntax array. So you can either do it this way or do it this the other way, or instead of doing it this way, you can also do it this way. Let me show you another format. You can do it this way, just take it this way, and here you are going to have it like this. Sorry, you are going to have it like this, and cat, sorry, then you have dog, you have what, mouse. So there are a lot of goodies that is added. So even though you don't want to do it this way, you can also use another format. There are several formats to declare an array in PHP. So I also talked about it in my basic course. So please and please, I will not be going to the basic method in this advanced course. Please and please, I won't do that. Okay, so here is the array, and we declared the cat, the dog, and the mouse. So this is awesome. So here we are going to what? We are going to for each. So for each, we are going to be using for each. We can use for each, we can use for loop, we can use for in, we can use anything to at least loop through the array. But I love using for each a lot. I don't know, I just love using it. So I'm going to be using for each in this case. So this for each is going to loop through the animal and call it an animal, singular. This is the plural, that is because we have this value 1, value 2, value 3, that is 0, 1, 2. So all these values are appended into an array as a plural, and here we loop through the plural, getting individual objects as a singular animal. Then this animal is now pointing to the what? To the make sound method that we have here. Can you see this is the make sound method? So also pointing to the eat method. So this is the what? Eat method over here. So I'm going to click on save, and by the time I open my browser, you are going to see the what? The difference of what I'm talking about. So if I go to my browser and refresh this page, refresh, can you see everything is jammed together? So now I will be making a difference by passing break tag. So I'm going to say echo break tag, and this break tag also should be added to the first line and also be added to the second line. So click on save and go to your browser to refresh what you've done. So if I click on refresh, as you can see, everything is well highlighted, so we can see what is happening. So this is how interface work in PHP. This is how to work. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in my next section. And once again, if you need the basic understanding of PHP, take my basic course, and this is going to help you understand that. See you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you're going to be learning about OOP traits in PHP. So what are traits? PHP only supports single inheritance. That is, a child class can only inherit from a single parent class. That is, if you declare a class that is a parent class and you want to extend the class, you want to inherit everything it has, you can only use the extend keyword to extend. You can't do more than that. So you can only inherit from a single parent and not more than that. You can't do extend. It only extend once. So what if a class needs to inherit multiple behaviors, that is objects? So that is when we have traits to solve this problem for us. So traits are used to declare methods that can be used in multiple classes. So traits can have methods and abstract methods that can be used in multiple classes. Methods can have any access modifier, that is, you can have the public, the private, or the protected. So all those things are applicable to traits. So traits are declared with trait keyword. So as you can see, we have an example here, which is traits and the trait name. Here you pass in your methods that you want to be shared with other classes. Okay, so to use traits in class, we have to use this keyword use. So with this use keyword, you pass in your trait name, and this is going to be accepted. It's going to work as expected. So here we have a basic example that we can copy and try to run. So let me copy this, Ctrl C. Okay, so after copying that, then I'm going to move down to this place to comment everything we have here. So starting from here down to this area, comment it all and take it downward. Sorry, let me push it down with this guy. Let me push it down with this guy. Okay, so here we're going to have define trait. So we are using trait this time around. So now after this has been defined, then we're going to have the trait. What we copied is what we're going to use based on the document. So we have trait message one, and message one as method, and trait message one as method message one, and this message one is returning and is returning a printable OOP is fun. So we are returning this as a printable data. So it's just once we just point to this message one, it's going to echo what we have here. So here we are. So here now we have class welcome. So class welcome is now using the traits of message one. Can you see? So it's just about you copying. Like for example, normally this should just be like this. It should just be like this. So you now want to optimize this by sharing the same method with other class. So instead of just passing it here and redeclaring it in another class, do it again in another class. So why doing that when you can just pass it into a single file, into a single trait trait class, a trait object, and use this trait data by sharing this trait data within several classes. So by doing this, is going to help you optimize your method. So this is not going to be too long while you can share it with others. Okay, so that's just the simple explanation of traits. So if I click on save and I go to my browser, you are going to see how this is going to run. So it's still very simple. So as you can see, we have OOP is fun. So we can add another method to it. Let me go to my VS Code, add another method. So this method is going to be addition. So let's just do addition. Here we're going to have message 2, not message 2, add number. So we're going to have number 1, num1, then num2. So num1, num2, then here we are going to return num1, num2. Instead of echoing, let's do a return. Let's do a return. So return num1 and num2. This is going to be an addition. So control S, which is save. Now we're already using it here. So what we just need to do is just to point directly to add number. As you can see, 10 plus 20, which is going to give us what, 30. And at the same time, you can still declare your method here too. So multiply number. So multiply number. So here we're going to have this times this, and it's going to work as expected. So it will still work. Can you see? If you don't want to put it here, you can just take it out and pass it to the trait, and it will still work just as the normal way. So here, let me pass break tag, so that is going to, let's pass straight break tag, so that is going to look more awesome. Now, as you can see, OP is fun. We have the 30 and we have the 200. As you can see, this is awesome. It is amazing. So this is how you can use traits easily within your class. So this same trait can be used in another class. If I declare another class now, so class 2. So here we have class 2. Can you see welcome 3, which is totally different. Let's just call this class testing. Let's just call this testing class. So testing class, use traits message 1. So you can also declare another trait. Anything can be used within the trait. You can declare another trait and you can still use the same trait. So if I use the same trait, all this data that I have access to, I will also have access to it, as long as it's in the trait area. So I'm going to be sharing the method I'm sharing. All the method that is applied here is going to be shared anywhere we use this trait. Once we add this use trait, we are going to share all the methods. So here now we can do that for testing class. As you can see, everything is going to be shared. It's still the same thing. It will work like the other guy. So if I click on save, as you can see, it is working as expected. So this is how traits work in PHP. So let's go back to the document to see what else we need to learn about. So we've worked on the example. So I already explained all this in that area. Let me just explain more. So here we declare one trait, message 1. Then we create a class, welcome. The class uses the trait, and all the methods in the trait will be available in the class. So if other classes needs to use message 1 function, simply use the message 1 trait in those classes. This reduces code duplication. Exactly. So because there is no need to redeclare the same method over and over again, so that is going to help you achieve a lot of goodies and greatness. So you can have multiple traits, just pass it pass the same two traits inside, just like this. Now we have trait 1, we have trait 2, and we have welcome 1, we have welcome 2, and the second welcome use the two traits. So now let's also duplicate our traits so that we can have the similar experience. So I'm going to go back to this place and declare a new trait. So here we're going to have trait 2, trait 2. So here we're going to have another trait message 2. Can you see? This is message 1, this is message 2. So under trait 2, I'm going to now pass it down to welcome area. You know, the first one is what I'm going to pass it to. You cannot pass it to the second one. It is possible. So on the first one, to use the second trait inside the welcome area. So normally you can also use use message 2. It is possible where you can optimize your code. For example, if I do something like this, it's still going to work. Let me show you message 2. So here we have msg2 under welcome. So here I'm going to have break tag, then we are going to have what msg2. So if I go to the advanced, we are going to see it reduce what duplication. This is it here. This reduce duplication. So if I go back to this place and I say, okay, I don't want to list it like this because it's going to be too long. Let's do an optimization. Just cut this, add a break tag, add a comma, and click on save. It's going to be on a straight line, so you can leverage on this single use keyword. So click on save and go back to your browser. You will discover that it still works. As you can see, it's still working like before. So this is how to use multiple traits in a single class. So this is what we do also in this place. So awesome. So now here's the explanation. So we declare two traits, message 1 and message 2. Then we create two classes, welcome and also welcome 2. The first class, welcome, uses trait 1, which is message 1 trait, and the second class which is welcome 2, uses the message 1 and message 2 trait. Multiple traits are separated by what? By a comma. So that is how that is done. So that ends the conversation on traits. So guys, thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you're going to be learning about static methods in object-oriented programming in PHP. So what are static methods? Static methods can be called directly without creating an instance of the class. That is the first benefit of a static method. If you have ever worked with Laravel, you will discover that while declaring for eloquent method, you will just be writing it directly without having to make an instance of a class, creating an object. So with static, everything is just smooth. Everything is directly to the class source without having to regenerate an object. So I love static method a lot. I really love static. Okay, so static method are declared with static keyword. Oh yes, they are declared with static keyword. So an example that we have here is the class name declared, and here we have the public static. Can you see? Public static function. So once we have the public declared, here can be your public, your protected, private. So before the function, just pushing your static if it is static method that we're going to be sending down to. So here now we have static. To declare this method as a static method, we pass in the static, and here we echo hello world. Okay, so to access the static method, use the class name with double colon, oh yes, and then the method name. So this is the syntax. Can you see? In this case now, you can easily achieve something quickly without having to make an instance of a class, dump it to an object, then connect it to the method. So with this syntax, you have access to your method, and you have the result instantly. Okay, so now this is a pure example that we're going to be copying and be using in this current section. So I will copy this, Ctrl C, go to my VS Code, and everything we have here, I'm going to comment it all. So let me comment everything that we have here, all the way from there down to this place, comments. Then here we take it down, and we are going to have define static methods. So we have static methods. So here I'm going to paste in what I just copied. Class greeting has a static method of welcome, and method of welcome is echoing hello what, hello world. Awesome. So if I click on save and get to this class, naturally declaring the class should be capital letter. So guys, let it be at the back of your mind, let it be capital letter. It's very important. So here we have what, greetings, and greetings points directly to the word static method welcome. So if I click on save, it's going to work as expected. So I go to my go to my Google Chrome, open my browser, refresh. As you can see, we have what, hello world. So I can decide to declare another static method. Let's say addition. So add number, let's call this add number, and we have what, number 1 and number 2, and by the time we have it here, we're going to have what, echo greetings, then add number 1, add number 2. Can you see how smooth and straightforward this is? This is awesome. So this is how you can use static method easily. You know, it's going to help you improve the speed of your work. Can you see we have the 3 here? So everything is working as expected. So this is how static method is declared. So let's go back to our document and continue from where we stop. So here now we have more examples. So I already explained this in the video, and here we have more on static methods. So we also declare more static method, but in this case there is a construct that automatically points to the static method without having to point to your welcome. So it is printed directly from the constructor. So let's also do the same thing in our own end. So I'm going to also be pointing this directly. I will comment the existing code we have. So let's comment this out. So comment, and let's push this directly to the controller, to the constructor. So I'm going to point directly to the constructor, and here I'm going to take out this, take it out. Let's go back to where we are coming from. Okay, so here we are going to pass some required arguments. Let's say num1 and num2. Let's pass some required arguments num1, num2, and within this place we are going to return like an echo. So echo self. So to target within the class area, we're going to target the add number. So echo self add number. So this is going to return the value, and here we're going to print it in the constructor area. As you can see, we have the method declared, and we have the static on this method welcome, and here we have the self welcome. So because we already have an echo in the welcome, that is why we are not passing echo here again. So I'm going to go back to the code, and here we have add number, and here we have the return number. So here I'm going to now call this in this place, call the static method. So here I'm going to have, we're going to have new greetings 10 plus 20. As you can see, it is plus. So by the time I click on save, it's going to send this data directly to this method, and it's going to echo the value. So if I go to my browser, then refresh, we should have 30. Can you see it is working? So this is working as expected. Everything is working fine, which is awesome. It is amazing. So let's move on to the next one. Here we have static method can also be called from the method in other classes. To do this, the static method should be public. So it is extendable. That is, you can extend it, you can inherit it in a child class, and you can be pointing directly to the static data declared, but make sure it is public so that it's not going to restrict you from using it. Okay, so moving on to the next one, we have an example here, class greeting. We have method welcome, and we have another class here declared. So in this case now, it is not actually inherited, it is not extended mode, so it is pointed directly without pointing to without using an extend. You can also use extend, but in this case we don't have an extend. It is not inheriting it, it is calling it directly. Just instead of calling it directly outer area, like calling it directly something like this, outside area. So instead of calling directly outside area, it is called in another class method, so that it can perform the same thing that is happening here. Is going to be the same thing that is going to work also in this place. Okay, so that is how that is working. So to call a static method from a child class, use the parent keyword inside the child class. Here the static method can be public or protected. So as you can see, we have class domain, which is protected static function get websites. Now this is the one I was talking about. So once it is protected, it is going to work when you inherit it as an extend. So once you extend it, it is going to work on another class that you inherited it from. But if it is private, it's not going to work. If it is public, it can work outside this area. But if it is protected, guy, it won't work within this kind of format. It will not work. Okay, so now with this same functionality, this is going to work once it is protected and you extend it, which is an inheritance mode, is going to work. So you can point directly to get websites from this area and it's going to work. So we have the constructor for the domain A, and here we have the properties for the website also in this place. So let's copy this and let's see how this is going to come up in the output. Though I did not do this example, should I do it? I should do it. Okay, no problem. Let me do this example. I will declare another class, then pass this into it. So let me declare another example. So take this out, and this constructor is going to be shanked off, or just comment it so that it's not going to run on init mode. So here I'm going to have another class. So class new area. So new area. Let's call this new area. So I'm not extending anything. So new area is going to have a simple data, not this greeting. Let's call this what should we have? Add number. Let's call it add new data. Let's just call it add new data. So the purpose of just doing this is to just print something. Don't let us pass any data, just for you to see how it works. Okay, so instead of echoing this data here, I'm not going to echo. I'm going to rather point to this welcome that we have here. So greetings, welcome. So I'm going to have greetings, that is that class. Then we are going to point to what? To welcome. That's what I just want to do, just to show you how this works. So by doing this, it's going to work here. But if this welcome, it is protected, it's not going to work. So let's see how that works. If I click on save, as you can see, it will not work. But this greeting is going to work if we add what? If we add extend what? Greetings. If you add extend greetings, it's going to work automatically. As you can see, it is working. So you can either point it using the same class name or use the parent what function. As you can see, it's going to work. Or if you don't even want to use parent, you can still use self. I'm very sure this is going to work. As you can see, it is still working. So use self, use parent, or use the name itself. It's going to work. Can you see? It is all working. So here now I can now what call new area, then add what new data. Click on save, go back to your browser and refresh the browser. As you can see, it is working. Hello world. So if I go back to this place and I change this to dynamic data, let's call it message MSG, so we can make it dynamic. So copy what we have here, Ctrl C, and paste it here, Ctrl V, and here we need to require some data, and here we're going to accept MSG also. So MSG, so this MSG is going to be sent from the outer layer of this declaration. So here we're going to have the declaration hello world, comma. Okay, what are we doing? I am from new world area. So save it. As you can see, it is working. So if you change this to self, also it's going to work. Watch, we change this to self, it's also going to work. As you can see, it is still working. Change it to parent, save it, it is still what? It is still working. So this is just the simple way for you to do this, and this is amazing. So I really love using static method a lot because it's really saved me from redeclaring an instance and coming back to do it's a lot of work. So with public, it's going to work using these formats outside a new class that you did not extend to, but with protected, it's going to work once you extend it, once you extend the class that you declare your static area. Okay, so I hope you get that. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current lesson. So see you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this amazing section. In this section, you are going to be learning about static properties. Okay, so what are static properties? Static properties can be called directly without creating an instance of a class. That is something similar to the static method that we just learned in the previous section. So the same applies to static properties. If you declare static property you can access it directly without having to make an instance of the class. Okay, so static properties are declared with static keyword. Okay, so here we have the simple syntax to do that. So here we have public, static, and the property. Normally we have the public property, protected property, private property, but in this case you can add static to it just to denote it as a static property. So this is similar to the method that we just learned, so it is very similar to it, same functionality, but the difference is this is not having a condition or having a code to execute. It is just you passing a value to the property. So okay, so this is the first syntax to learn. So to access a static property, use the class name with double colon and then the property name itself, and here we have the simple syntax to do that. So the class name and the word static property variable. After that has been declared, then you can have your value. So let's copy this example that we have here to try that out. So here I'm going to comment everything that I already declared in the previous video. So I'm going to comment it and take it down, and let's also click on save. Go to GitHub commit section, and here I'm going to write added static method. So static method, added static method. So let's push this, pushed. Okay, that has been pushed. Then here I'm going to have define static property. So we have property. Okay, paste it. So here now we have property pi, and here we have we have a class pi, and here we have the property value. So it is very simple. We declare a class pi, it can be anything, so don't bother about this pi, it can be anything. And here we have the public. We normally have our what's it called, property like this in this case. So but we want to make it static and without making it a regular property that we can be accessing using an instance. So we need it to be static. So once we need that, we just pass in our static and we can access this value that we have here, 3.14, which is the pi value. Okay, so here now we have the public. If this is private, protected, is not going to work outside. So I believe you guys already know that. Okay, so click on save and let's see if this is going to print anything on our screen. So go to PHPAdvance, refresh. As you can see, it is working as expected. So let's move on with our example. So we already explained this, so let's move on static properties. So here now we have a method added to our class. So this method is called static value. So this static value returns the value that is coming from these properties. So instead of calling this property directly, we point the value to the method, and we call it a method using an instance of an object. Okay, so now let's also do the same thing. So I'm going to be introducing this public function to our class that we just declared. So here we're going to have this, and this value is going to be printed here. Then this static value is going to be accessed from here directly without having to use that guy. So I'm going to make an instance of this pi, and it's going to be what pi, and pi is going to address static value. So if I click on save, it's going to also print this on our browser. So go to the browser, refresh. As you can see, it is still working as expected. Okay, so now to call a static property from a child class, use the parent keyword inside the child class. So that is if you extend what we have, just like we performed in the previous section with our method. Everything is applicable to also property. The only difference is this regular expression that you have to pass within your method, because in this case it is value that you are pushing inside. Okay, so now this is what we have. We already presented this, and we also work on this. So that is how you can use your static properties. Okay, I hope you understand everything I just explained. So thank you so much guys for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you're going to be learning about namespace and object oriented. Okay, so what are namespaces? Namespaces are qualifier that solve two different problems. So this is the first solution that is solved. So the first one is they allow for better organization by grouping classes that work together to perform a task, and they allow the same name to be used for more than one class. Okay, so let's say you have a class of first name, you have another class of first name, so you can denote a separate namespace for each of the class while you are making an instance for it, and it's going to be unique. Okay, that is what we have for this better explanation. So for example, you may have a set of classes which describe an HTML table. It's still the same explanation I just mentioned. So where you have table, row, and cell, while also having another set of classes that describe the furniture such as table, chair, and bed. So namespace can be used to organize the classes while we are making an instance in an object. That is when the namespace is going to solve the problem. Okay, so let's move to the next one. So declaring a namespace. Namespaces are declared at the beginning of a file using namespace keyword. Okay, so this is only declared at the beginning of a file, at the beginning of PHP file. So you can't declare namespace maybe after line 1. No, it will not work. So make sure namespace is declared in line 1 so that it's going to function. Okay, so now this is how to declare a namespace. As you can see, we have namespace HTML. So note, a namespace declaration must be the first thing in PHP file. The following code would be invalid. So if you declare namespace after you've written a code, it's not going to work. So a namespace has to be the first thing to be declared. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So here we have constant classes and functions declared in the file will belong to the HTML namespace. So here we have a namespace of HTML, and we declare a new class table. So this table has a property of title, property of number of rows, and we have a method of message. Okay, so now this table, because it has a namespace of HTML, anytime you want to make an instance of this table, is going to be referencing to namespace HTML. Now this namespace HTML, the reason why we did not pass it into this place is because this same class table that we are declaring is still the same file area that we are trying to use it. So let's say you want to use it in a different file location. So you can now start specifying the name, the namespace you would like to use. Okay, so now in this case, now we have all this declared, and we have table number rows declared to 5, and the title to my table, and here we echo the message in the HTML body. So here now we concatenate HTML, we concatenate PHP into HTML. Okay, so now let me copy this example that we have here so that we can have something on our screen. So let me copy everything from here down to the namespace, then go to my code, then within my code location I'm going to comment what I have here. So let me comment this, comment, and here take it down. So here we're going to have namespace, and I told you namespace has to be first, so I can't even put a declaration of a comment. If I put comment, it might not see the namespace, so namespace has to be passed first. So don't forget, you need to continue your PHP so that this comment is going to be valid. Okay, take it down. So click on save. Take this guy. Okay, my VS Code is bringing it down to line 3. So nevertheless, I think this is just awesome since here is empty and this is our first line of our code declaration. Okay, so here we have class table carrying namespace of HTML. Can you see we have the HTML namespace over there, and this table is going to be saying namespace HTML because it's still in the same file area. So what I'm going to do now is just going to launch this. I'm going to echo it. Let's see. As you can see, it is already echoed in this method, and this method is what we're pointing to because the object is already instantiated into this table variable. Okay, so all this, I believe you understand it very well. So I'm going to click on save, then go to my browser end, open my PHPAdvance, refresh the screen. As you can see, this is working as expected. So I'll go to my code now, and I'm going to declare a new table based on the document. So let's just follow the document. Let's follow the document. So for further organization, it is possible to have nested namespace. So I believe in this place we have another namespace declaration of code HTML. So with code HTML, that is, you are giving it a nested declaration. Maybe there is already namespace HTML. You can now give it another attribute, maybe a suffix of adding a new one to it, code /, and that is going to help you achieve that. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So using namespaces, so don't worry, we are still going to use this example, but let's just read this documentation. Using namespaces, any code that follows namespace declaration is operating inside the namespace. So classes that belong to the namespace can instantiate without any qualifier, just like we did not pass the HTML namespace again because it's already in the same file location. So to access classes from outside a namespace declaration, that is, the class needs to have the namespace attached to it in a different file area. Okay, so for example, we have this declaration. So we have the first table, which is what we declared in the past section, and here we have another class declared with a different namespace. So I'm going to show you how this happened. So I'm going to go to my VS Code again. Then within this VS Code location, I'm going to copy everything we have here, cut it, and create a new file. I don't create file this way. So create a new file using this plus icon right after this your folder name. So this file is going to be inc, or just call it class folder. Sorry, not a file, it's a folder, sorry about that. So create a new folder called classes. So within these classes, we are going to write our first class. So this class is going to be table.php. So click on save and paste what we are. Sorry, I just paste. Declare your PHP, paste it inside, click on save, then create another file inside this folder called table2. So it's still table2. So just table2.php. Okay, so I'm going to paste exact code that we drop in table 1 to table 2. So the difference that we're going to have here is, now don't forget we have the same class table. So here we're going to change this to order. Let's change it to order namespace, so we can have order slash, let me just do one after the other. So we have order, and here we have the same name table, and here we have title 2, and here we're going to have let's call it a number of rows 2. Let's call the number of rows 2. I think that's awesome. So we are going to have here as table 2, then the title is going to be title 2, and here we have number of rows 2. So click on save, and we have the same class name with separate namespace declared. So table 1 is declared as HTML, table 2 is declared as order. So if I go to the index, I'm going to require this file. So require the classes and the table. So table 1 is added, table 2 is also added. Now as you can see, we have these two tables, but as you can see, we having an issue because the table is not declared. It is declared, but we have two tables that is being initialized because the table 1 is taking also table 2, the same class. So we have the same class, but the namespace is just different. So now to solve this problem, for table 1, we are going to copy this namespace, Ctrl C, go to the index, pass this namespace here. So we are going to have something like this, and this is going to resolve. As you can see, table 1 is not seeing HTML as its as its namespace, and this is working fine. Now this same HTML, now if I change it to order, you are going to see the error here because the namespace is different. So if I change it to order, this is not working because it's totally different. This is what others table. So this others table is not really showing an error, but normally it's supposed to show an error. So if I click on save and I run it in my browser, we should have an error because it's different namespace. Okay, table 2 has zero data. It's not passing data to it, but instead it's supposed to show error, but it's not passing data to it. Well, let me now change it to the 2 and change this 2 onto 2 also. Normally it's supposed to show error, but is not really bringing out error. So if I change this to 5 and change this to well, click on save. So normally it's supposed to show error. So as you can see, we have table 2 well as 5 row. So if I change it to HTML, it's not going to work. So HTML namespace, click on save, go back to this place. It's going to show something different because it is not corresponding. Normally it should show error, but error is not pumping up. Okay, so let's call this other table and we are going to make a new declaration. So this declaration is going to be table 2. So we are going to call this table 2. So table 2 is going to have HTML table declared, and this is going to work for it. And over here we are going to make this declaration also on table 2, and here we are going to have echo break tag. Click on save, and as you can see, table 2 is working and table 1 is working as expected. So now we can also make a declaration. If you don't want to use this format, it's very simple. You can decide to use something like this. Use HTML. Sorry, imagine use HTML. So if we add use HTML, you don't need to pass it here again. Though let's see if it's going to work. As you can see, it's not working because we have same name on this table. So the best part to do this is use HTML, then /table, then as we cannot pass as HTML table. So copy this and paste it to this place, and it's going to be saying this because the reference is already passed. So we can do the same version for the other table. So we're going to have other table as other table. Then we take out this declaration and pass the reference. So now we have reference other table and we have reference HTML table, seeing the same class name. So this is how you can use namespace. And this same namespace, you can have sub namespace, sub prefix. So let's say I want to pass more prefix to this. So HTML at the beginning of HTML, so /. You can add it at the beginning. You can add it in the beginning. So at the end rather. So HTML, we can have code here. We can have new area, anything. You can just pass anything just for you to know, okay, this is what I'm doing. New area, same. You can just write new area data. You can pass anything. So this is going to be seen as a new namespace. So this is the namespace you are giving to you. So namespace can be a custom URL that you can pass using /. Don't forget, it has to be /. So for you to just have something unique that is going to really look awesome, really look unique. So we have other code, new area, and data. So if I go to this place now, this is going to crash because this is not referencing what I passed again. So instead, I'm going to update this to this, and by the time I add the final /, we are going to have table, and this is going to be working once again. So the same applies to this. Let me just copy this data down to this place, and after passing it here, this is also going to work. As you can see, it is now working. This is great. This is awesome. So the reason why we are passing a prefix is because we have the same name, and don't forget, you can also pass it directly like this, even without using a prefix or anything. You can pass it directly here. It will still work. Can you see? So this is exactly what we normally do in Laravel. This is exactly what we do in Laravel, Code Igniter, WordPress development, plugin development. This is what we do exactly. Can you see? Simple and straightforward. So I'll just prefer it like this, which is going to look more clean. Okay, so let's go back to the document to see what we have left. So we have used the namespace, we've performed the example, even more example than this. We've used the alias namespace as an alias, we've passed that. Yeah, I think that's all. Okay guys, so thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in my next one. Bye. Hey yo, welcome again to this new section. In this section, we are going to be starting our project. I mean the VTU project. We're going to be starting it from scratch. So in the previous section, we talked about namespace, and I hope you guys understand that. Okay, so to get started with the project, we are going to clear everything we have here. yes, we need to delete everything. So we can't have all this testing on our main development environment. So I need to delete this, then create a new PHP section. Let me zoom my screen so that you can see it better. Then for the readme, leave the readme, and these classes, please delete this classes folder. We don't need it, take it out. Okay, so that folder is removed. Go back to the index, take it down and click on save. We don't have that error anymore. So now we have only index.php and a readme.md. Okay, so now to get started, we need to introduce Composer Autoload. We need Composer Autoloader to run this project that we're going to be using. Oh yes, Composer Autoloading functionality is very important. So we are going to be extending that autoloading functionality with the PSR4, which is PHP autoloading data structure. There's a way it works. Funny enough, I've not really understand it deeply on how that really works, because it's very, very complex and very wide. But the basic knowledge on how that thing work, on how the framework work, I will let you know. It's very simple for the basic knowledge, but if you want to dive deep into it, it will take a lot of videos to do that. So I will just break it down to the very least way for you to understand. So let me go to Google so that you can get what I'm talking about. So I'm going to search for PSR4. Okay, so we have PSR4. So the PSR4 is what we're going to be using to autoload our files, our PHP class, and anything that has to do with classes in our code. So as you can see, we have it as this PSR will describe a specification for autoloading classes from 5 parts. So if you have many parts, it's going to automatically target it from the root of the parts that you specify. You don't worry, I'm going to simplify everything we have here. And I told you earlier, it is very, very broad and complex. And thank God you are learning into the PHPAdvance course. So let me break this down to your own understanding. So I will go to my Visual Studio Code now to begin the process. So to start this process, don't forget we have just 2 files here, the index and also the readme.md. So I'm going to create a new file. Just follow me as I'm doing. Create a new file called composer.json. So we are going to be extending Composer, which is the package manager for PHP frameworks or PHP extensions or anything that you want to add down, just like npm, something like that. So in this case, we are using Composer. So Composer is for the PHP section. So that's how Composer works. In case you don't know Composer, I'm very sure you guys already installed Composer. Let me go to Google and search that so that you have a little knowledge about that. But I'm very sure you have come across Composer. This is Composer that we're going to be using. And if you have anything that you want to download from Composer, you can move down to this place and search for any package. If you search for Paystack, you are going to see a lot of package that has to do with Paystack for PHP developers. So this Composer is similar to npm. The same npm that JavaScript is using is similar to npm. So it's just a place where you can get things to fasten your development. Very simple. That's how it works. So we are going to be using this Composer to run our entire files and classes. So let me go back to my code so that we can continue what I'm doing. So I'm going to create a new file called composer.json. So with composer.json, we are going to introduce the formula that we're going to use to process those classes, for those classes to work. So I'm going to introduce my JSON syntax, and within this place I have my autoload. So inside my autoload, I'm going to specify what I want to autoload. So as you can see, we have this guy here, which is the PSR4. So the PSR4 is what they are going to be using to autoload, that is to extend the functionality of the Composer to our own personal suite system. That is to personal things that we want this autoloading to do. So what do we want this PSR4 to do for us? So we want it to create that is listen to namespace app, inside this app folder, and anything that has to do with PHP files inside this app folder, either inside folders or folders in folders. No matter how long the folders is, this PSR4 is going to read it. So as long as all the folders is inside this app, it is going to read every single PHP files inside this folder, and everything must be carrying this app namespace, because this is the namespace that we have here. You can change it to, it is possible for you to change it, but it's just best we leave it as app, because I really love namespace in my projects with apps. Even Laravel does the same thing. They use namespace app to do that. Okay, so this is the namespace that we're going to be specifying for all our projects. So namespace app is the root namespace, while this app is the directory that we're going to be creating now. And any folder we create under this app, any folder we create at all, any folder we create under this app is going to be seen as the top level of namespace, and at the same time the files inside our folder is going to be seen as a class. Do you understand, please? Okay, so let me pause for now so that you can watch this video again. Please watch it again. If possible, watch it like 3 times so that you have deep knowledge on how this thing works, so that you get the explanation. So in the next lesson, I'm going to move on to the next section. Okay, so thanks so much for taking your time to watch this current one. See you in the next one. Bye. Hey yo, welcome back to this section. Okay, in the previous section we learned about the computer.json, about PSR4, so about the namespace, which is the app namespace. That's going to be our top level namespace for every class that we're going to be creating. Okay, so after we are done creating the file composer.json and we've passed our architecture, the formula what I want to use, then the next thing to do is to click on Ctrl S, that is save it. Oh, yes. So after you are done saving it, go to your VS Code. At the top you are going to see terminal. Click on terminal and click on this new terminal. Okay, so once you click on this new terminal, you are going to be given a terminal in the location of your project. Please make sure the terminal is locating your project folder. As you can see, this is my project folder PHPAdvance, and the terminal is currently there. So once you are here, you can just use ls to make sure you are in this project folder. As you can see, I have readme.md, composer.json, index.php. That is exactly what I have here. So make sure you are in this place. So after you have checking that, after you are done checking and it's correct, you can use clear to just clear what you have. So the next thing to do here now is to use composer install. So let's use composer install. So composer install is going to help us to set up the autoload folder, the autoload file, and the vendor folder for us, so that we can point the autoload into our index.php. Okay, so composer install, so click on enter, and this is going to generate the file for us. So as you can see, this has automatically processed itself, and the autoload files has been generated. So if I go to the vendor folder, click on the autoload, as you can see, it is now there. So you don't need to edit this autoload. That does not really concern you. Don't worry about the autoload file that is created. So what you just need to do here is to move down to the index.php. But before we go there, as you can see, we have composer.log. So this composer.log is going to give you the insights of what you installed so far. So you don't need to worry about this section at this moment, because this is auto-generated. So what we just have is this one that we generated by ourselves, that is, we write it ourselves, which is our architecture. So after you are done installing the composer, you'll be given this folder vendor. Drop down the vendor. As you can see, we have the autoload.php. It is now this autoload that we are going to now load into our index.php. which is very, very important. Okay, so now go to your index.php. As you can see, we have what? Nothing in this place. In our index, there's nothing there. So to now continue with what we are doing, we need to now install, we need to pass this autoload directly to the index so that we can have it as a required file. Anytime our site will run, is going to move down to the index area and check if there's any class that has to deal with the request or whatever we are doing. But the very first thing is for us to make sure the autoload is processed, is passed down before we introduce the route system that we're going to be using. Okay, so I'm going to now use the keyword require. Again, to use keyword require, don't use require ones though. Don't use require ones. Just make sure it is require. So the require container, with the require keyword is going to help us make sure the autoload is always loading and not just once and stopped. Okay, so once we have require, point to the folder that you want to import, which is this vendor folder. As you can see, this is the folder here, vendor. So point to vendor folder, vendor, and inside vendor, what are we pointing to? Autoload.php. So in case you are having difficulties with some extension issue or code, so I currently use this extension PHP. If I search my PHP extension, you are going to see what I use. I use PHP extension. So I use this guy, PHP IntelliSense. You can install this one. I use PHP extension pack, which is very important, and I use PHP namespace. Okay, I use PHP formatter. Okay, and I use tabline. And the one that actually generated the most of my command is Copilot. So I use Copilot. Which is the GitHub Copilot that is trending currently. So all this is what I use at the moment, and the GitHub Copilot is not actually free. It's $10 per month. So if you can afford that, no problem, you can just do that, and it is going to automatically help you with the speed of your development. Okay, so that is just for the extension part. So let me click on save, and this part is done. We have successfully required our autoload file into our index area so that we can maximize the autoload functionality of the composer into our own personal project. Okay, so after this is done, the next thing we need to do now is to create the folder. Under this composer.json, we specify that this app namespace is going to be representing any folder inside this app folder. So this app folder is not created yet. So we need to create this app folder under our directory. So I'm going to create a new folder called app, and inside this app is inside this app is where we're going to now perform all the magic that has to do with the namespace of app. Okay, so after this is done, the next thing we are now going to look into is creating our folders inside this app. So the folder that we're going to look into is the controller folder, model folder, core folder. Inside the core, we're going to have our request, session, and any other thing that we want to do. But first, let's enter the controller folder. So inside the controller folder, I'm just going to create something simple, which is the home controller. So inside this controller folder, inside the controller folder is what we're going to do. So let me create a new folder called controller. So inside here, we're going to create our folders called controller. So you can call that controller. Don't bother about using X because this controller is going to be seen as a namespace. So don't forget. So we have the controller, and inside this controller, we're going to create a new file called home controller. Make sure it's capital letter. So home controller.php. So inside this place now we have the home controller.php. So inside your home controller.php, you will now define the namespace that you're going to be using. Define the namespace, which is the root namespace, and also the folder namespace. That's in two places. Okay, so let me show you. Inside our composer.json, we specify this app as our root namespace, isn't it? So inside this home controller, we already have app, we have controller, and we have this home controller. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now, inside this home controller, I'm going to introduce my PHP, and after my PHP is introduced, I'm going to create my namespace. So namespace app, then controller. So let me explain how this namespace work. So this namespace app that we have here is the root, as you can see, root, which is representing this folder, and the next namespace controller is this controller folder name. So the next thing that we're going to have now is the class, which is home controller. So here now we're going to pass in the class. So class home controller. So home controller. So don't worry about this generated, just delete it. Okay, so delete. Let me take out this interface. We don't need interface for now. Okay, so now we have this home controller under this app folder, controller folder, and we eventually have the file home controller.php. So that is how this namespace PSR4 works. I hope you understand that part. So the controller, the home controller now is defined successfully. We have no issue. So here now we can decide to have our index. We can have our index method, and inside our index method we can return or just echo home. So let's echo home. So home page. So this is our home page for the home controller. So at the moment this will not work, because if I go to my browser now, open my localhost, then PHPAdvance, I think, yes, PHP_advance, PHP_advance. If I enter, you're going to see that we have nothing. Meanwhile, if I go to the index.php and I echo working, is going to show something on the screen. It's because our work is not yet complete. As you can see, we have working on the screen, but at the moment is not showing anything because we are still processing the architecture of our MVC. So currently we are done with the controller section, and we have the index method under our class of home controller having namespace of app and controller. Okay, so this part is done, and this same part we can access it from anywhere at the moment because we've already connected the auto load. So let me just show you. So if I copy this home controller class and go to my index, then let me click on save so that you see that there's nothing here. As you can see, there's nothing there. So if I click echo home controller, then pointing the index, at the moment the index is not static. So let me try to make my index static so that I can access it in a static format. So I'm going to make this static. So as you can see, it is not static. So what I need to do now is to import it into this place. Imports, as you can see, I imported my home controller inside the folder of app, folder of controller, and eventually I got to the home controller file, which is homecontroller.php, which is what we have here. I hope you understand that part. Okay, so now if I try to load this index from my home page, it's going to automatically work. Refresh, as you can see, we have home page. It is because the auto load is doing its work all the way from the PSR4 functionality. So the class is now working perfectly without any issue. So this shows that our connection is fine, is great, and we are good to go. Okay, so if I try to also launch it with the namespace format, it's also possible, just like the example I showed you guys then. So let me use the namespace format. So echo home controller index after I pass the namespace. So it's still going to work. Refresh, as you can see, we have home page, and if I go to the home page and edit this to something new, it's still going to work. As you can see, it's working perfectly. So this is how to auto load our classes dynamically without any issue. Okay, so this part is done. So in the next section, we are going to be learning how to undo any request coming from the URL, either post, get, put, delete, any kind of header format. We need to learn how to undo that so that we can process the file and also the directory. Okay guys, see you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, you are going to be learning how to get all the requests, that is getting the post, getting the get method, the put method, and also any method. Okay, so we are going to get all those request file, request directory into our index.php so that we can pass it down to the route section. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is to go down to our directory, our root directory. So under our root directory, we're going to create htaccess file. So we are going to call it .htaccess, which is very, very important. So with .htaccess, we're going to do that functionality so that we can route all the requests and also file requests, directory requests to our index.php. So index can accept it and use it to do something great. Okay, so for us to use this htaccess, we need to first check if rewrite engine is currently active on the PHP level, that is the Apache level. So I believe all server enable rewrite engine by default, but some server might not have that functionality. So we need to first check so that we don't crash the server. So we are going to check if the module rewrite is active. So if it is active, then we're going to turn on the rewrite engine so that we can set our base, rewrite the condition, and also the rule to our index.php. So to do that, I'm going to use the less than, which is going to be the if. So capital letter I. So if capital letter M, if module space mode mod, so underscore rewrite. So if mode rewrite dot c is present. Okay, so if mode rewrite dot c is present, as you can see, if mode rewrite dot c is present. So if this is present on the Apache, then we are going to enable rewrite engine on. Please just follow exactly what I'm saying, please. Okay, so let me come back again. This if that we have here is capital letter I, capital letter M. So it's not that it's just combined together as small letter or lowercase. So please, this capital letter I, if capital letter M module. So if module mod, which is lowercase or true, mod underscore rewrite dot c is enabled. If it is enabled, then we are going to put on the rewrite engine on so that our application can use it to point all the request file, request directory down to our rewrite rule under our index.php. Did you understand, please? Okay, good. Thank God you understand. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to also point directly to the rewrite base. So the rewrite base is going to be my PHPAdvance. But if you're on live server, your rewrite base is going to be just slash. Okay, so I'm going to use the rewrite base. As you can see, this is a live server format, but in my own case, I use localhost, so automatically my rewrite base is going to be this PHP_advance. Okay, so go back to my VS Code and pass PHPAdvance as my rewrite base. That is very important. And the next thing we're going to use is the rewrite condition by getting all file requests and getting all directory requests down to our rewrite rule. So here the first one is the all file requests. So all these file requests and everything that we have on all directory requests. So here is file request and here is directory request. Everything is going to be rewrite rule down to our index.php. So everything is going to point directly to our index.php. So don't worry about the syntax that we have here. So just have it as dots and here take out this part. We don't need a part. Okay, so what we just need to pass here is the L, which is going to stop processing all the rules that we have been working on from the beginning of the rewrite engine on. Okay, so we rewrite the engine. So first we check if this module is active and we rewrite the engine just to make sure it's on, and we rewrite the base down to PHP_advance, and if it's live server, take out this and make it this way. Okay, so after that is done, we point all the request file name or the request directory down to our rewrite rule index.php, and this L we use to stop the operation of the rewrite rule. Okay, so click on save and we are good with these parts. Awesome. So the next thing that we're going to now look into is adding our routes.php to index. That's in the next section. Okay guys, see you in the next one. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, we are going to be learning how to create our call files, which is the request, the route, and also the session. Okay, so we are going to start with the request because it's the main thing that we need to use to get the file request name and file directory name. Okay, so to do that, we we are going to create a new folder under the app folder. Sorry about that, I have a little code. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do now, inside this my app folder, I'm going to create a new folder called call. So let your folder be call. So now we have two folders inside our app folder. So we have the controller, we have the call. Now inside this call, we are going to create a new file called request.php. Okay, now inside request.php, we are going to give our namespace app call, then we have the class. Okay, so here I'm going to do that by giving it a namespace of app. Don't forget app, then call /call, then close it. So once we have this, it's going to represent the app folder, call folder. Okay, so after that is done, we have our class request. So don't forget, we need to delete all those parts. We don't really need those areas. So we are going to be starting with the base method. So let me define the base method here, which is going to be a static method. Don't forget the static method, so that it's going to be easy for us to access. And the function name is going to be base. Sorry, imagine. So we take out the parameter, we don't need parameter. So over here, I'm going to return what we are going to be sending. But before I do anything, let me just return hello, just for you to see what we are doing. So I want to explain every part of this area. So return hello. So now this base part, let me copy it, Ctrl C, go to my index.php. So don't forget, anything we pass is going to work. So let me use prevar. Prevar. So prevar is going to output this for me, so that I can run I can see the exact query that I'm sending. You understand that? Okay, so now by using this syntax, it's going to show the exact data that we have over there with pre-tag. So I'll click on save and go to my browser, refresh. So we have what? Hello. Can you see? So that is the hello that I dropped down to this place as a return. So meanwhile, what we are trying to return is the base itself. So we are meant to have something like this slash as our base, so that we don't have parts of locals as our base. Do you understand? So in this case, I'm going to return server, so that you can understand what this server script name is. So we're going to return server script name. Sorry about that. So script name. So it is server script name that we're going to return. Then we're going to filter this, take out the white space if there's a white space, and get the directory name. So from this server script name, we are going to try to get the directory name all the way from here. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to encapsulate this into directory name. Okay, so pass it down here, click on save, refresh. What do we have? We have PHP advanced. That is the directory name and not the directory file. Okay, so now we have the directory name. So after the directory name is given, we need to trim out white space because we can't say it is possible there's white space. So click on save and refresh. So we have this as our final answer. So the next thing we are now going to now look into is to target the trim by sending down the character that we want to trim. So from this area, trim the slash. So click on save, refresh. As you can see, the slash is gone because we don't want the slash to be present. So that part is done. Click on save and we have PHPAdvance as our base part. Okay, so as our base part. So after this is done, the next thing we need to check is for SSL. So SSL, we need to check if there is SSL. So this is going to return true or false if there is SSL. So a lot of this method is really much. So sometimes we might not really go deep into what those functionality really do, but at your own pace you can do more research about what that really do. So please and please for us to fasten the video. Okay, so the next one is method. Sorry about that. So method, we need to check the method that is coming. Okay, so that works. So the next thing we need to now work on is we check if it's post. So if is post, so is post. So if it's post, we are going to return true, and if it's get, we are going to return true. Also, if is an ajax, I think yeah that works. So let's pass that. If it's an ajax, return this, and if is put is put, we have this, and if is delete, okay, we have this. If is patch, okay, we have this, and I think that's great. So we need to now check if I think the little one we have here is okay. We already have the get, we have the post, and any, I think any is awesome. So if is any, so any method, so let's see that if it's any method. So if it's this or this or this or this, then return true. Okay, so the next thing we need to pass is let me check my book. Okay, so I think we are done with all the require method for this layer. So the next one we need to pass is the URI. So the URI, which is very important. So to pass the URL, we need to move it down to this place, which is URI. Okay, so in the URL we are going to do some basic things. So we need to check if the SSL is set. So let me accept this and delete what I have here. I need to check if SSL is available, so that we can do some checking and remove some parts if it's SSL. Okay, so if SSL is not set, okay, so what do? We are going to get the base, which is very important. Since we have the base as, let me check the base. This is the base here above. Okay, so we have the trim, directory name, and we have the script name. Meanwhile, what we need currently now is the request URL. So we have it here. So we have the request URL, we have a trim, yes, which is awesome, but it's not complete yet. So I need to just delete what I have here. This is not correct for now. Then within this place, I'm going to pass in my variable t is equals to trim, then I'm going to pass the URL. So pass underscore URL. So within my path, I'm going to send down the request URL as a PHP URL path. Okay, just as we have it here. Correct. Awesome. So the next thing is to get the base. So get base. So once I get the base path, this is the base part. So I'm going to check if the base is in the URI because it's very important. So I'm going to check if the base is URL. But before I proceed, let me return what we have here so that we have the full knowledge of what we have. So we already know this secure return boolean true or false. So what this guy returned, we don't know yet. So let's copy this and let's return it. So return this guy. Okay. So if it is not secure, that means is localhost. Okay, so return T. So this T is what we have here. We need to know what we have in this area. So copy this. I told you earlier there will be a lot of method we are going to be creating. So please and please, you also need to research more after you watch the video. Learn more, please and please. I can't teach you everything. Okay, so go to the index.php, pass in. Okay, we already have the URI there. So click on save. Go to your browser. So before I proceed, sorry, I think everything is fine. Okay, it's fine. Good. So go to the browser, refresh. So we have PHPAdvance as our URL that we are passing. So we have this, just based on this same thing we have above here. Okay, so let me remove everything that I have here and just go to the home page. So this is the home page, but I have PHPAdvance in my home page, and it's because it's localhost. After localhost, I have PHP_advance, which is not supposed to be. So we need to remove this on localhost, but on live server, this will not be there. So to move on to the next one, so here now I get the base parts. Okay, so what is our base parts? Ctrl C, and let's return our base parts so that we have full knowledge of what we are doing. So this is our this is our base parts. Awesome. So now we know what we have in our base parts. So we are going to now check if the string position of our current request URL is also identical. Is also identical to what we have in our base. So if it is there, we are going to remove what? We are going to remove the first part of the URL. Okay, so delete this and check if base is in URI. Okay, so if it is there, we are going to remove it. As you can see, if the string position is found in is found in our request URL, that is if this guy that is returning PHPAdvance is also in this base URL, if they are the same, then please and please remove it. That is what we have here. So it's going to substring is going to remove a string in an offset. Okay, so the offset is the position, the string length, that is the position of where the particular string is. So it's going to remove it where it's located. Okay, so after it's done removing that, then we can now return T, and if eventually T return empty, because it is possible for us to get empty and we don't want to get empty. As you can see, it is what's empty. So if it is empty, we should fall back to /. So we are going to check if it is empty. So this symbol means it's empty. If it is empty, so if it is empty, fall back to what? /. Check it. As you can see, we fall back to this. So we get this as our base URI. Awesome. Okay, so we are going to check if we're on localhost, which is this SSL. So if it says if SSL is not there, you need localhost, then substring, then S if there is SSL. Okay, so if we have SSL, we're just going to return exactly what we have here without deleting anything. So this is absolutely correct. Okay, so click on save, and that is all. Refresh. As you can see, that is working very fine. Awesome. So after we are done with the URL and URI, then the next thing we need to work on is our session. So everything is done with our request class. So our request class is ready to go, ready to move. Okay, So let me delete what I have here. And okay, I don't need to delete it. I'm still going to use it for session. Okay. So thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current show. And guys, please and please make sure you understand everything we have here, every single function, method. Understand it deeply, please and please. Google is your best friend. Anything you don't understand, just copy, put on Google, is going to show for you. Let's say you don't know what pass URL is. Go on Google, paste, send. It's going to show it to you as a manual. As you can see, we have the manual on the first line of it. Pass a URL and return its components. Can you see? With example. So please guys, I can't teach you everything. Please, as I'm taking this course, as I'm teaching you this course, also research, learn. We learn every day. I'm also still learning. I learn every day. Up to now, I'm still learning. So please and please guys, don't relent as you're working on this course. Research, because everything we are using in this project is extremely advanced. Okay, so thank you so much for taking your time to watch this current section. See you in the next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. So in this section, you are going to be learning how to create the session.php before we move down to route.php. You know, we created the request class in the previous video. So in this one, we are going to be creating session.php, okay, which is very important. So here we have session.php. So here now we are going to specify our namespace just the way we normally do it. Sorry, namespace as app, then we have it as core. Okay, awesome. So because we are in core folder, don't forget. So here now we have our class session. Okay, delete this, delete that, and within this section area we want towards start session. So session should be start automatically. I think, yeah, should be start with the construct. So let's session start with construct. So we shouldn't have it as a separate method, which is not really good. So let's session start from here. Session starts. Yeah, I think this will work. Okay, so here now we are going to have set session. So let's set the session. Okay, so if it sets session key, sorry, the key, also return the value, and after that is set, return the session you just created. Then the next one is what? Get session. So if session is set, it's going to get it, else it's going to what? Is going to return null. So delete session. From delete session, we are going to check if it's set, else we unset it. Okay, so the next one is destroy session, which is going to destroy the entire session over here. Okay, so I think we are good with this. Yeah, we have the set, we have the get, and we have the delete. Yeah, this is just the basic session property. So let me do some confirmation. Okay, so I think we are good. So actually this session should not be starting automatically. We need to check if the session is already set or not. Oh, that's true. So that's true. We need to check if it's already set or not. So here now we're going to check if session is already set or not. So check if session is already started. Yeah, so if session is not started, that is, if it is none, it's going to what? Is going to start. Else, if it has already started, then we are not going to do anything. Okay, so that is for this. So click on save, and I think this should work. Okay, so let's test our session and let's see what we get. So I'm going to go to the index.php, copy my session. Let's copy this set session. So let's see if it's going to crash or not. So over here I'm going to initialize session here. Session equals to new session. So with my new session I need to import the namespace. So let me just do automatic imports. Okay, imported. So we have the session there. The EN I'm going to have session set. So session set. So set the key as name and also the value as John. So after the session is set, let me get the session and let's see what we have. So let me delete this since I don't need that anymore. So let's just confirm this session is working. So refresh, we have John. Awesome. So I think session is working, and let me try to comment this area and get the name. Okay, I think it's working. So let me destroy the session and let's see if it's going to work. So okay, let's use delete first before we destroy. Okay, delete. I think it worked. So let's set it again, and don't let us delete this time around. Instead we destroy. Okay, John is working. Comment it and let's see, is this still working? It's still working. So let's now use destroy session destroy, and let's see, is it working? Ooh, it does not work. Oh, it worked. Awesome. So that works, but it takes a little time. Let me set it again. Set and gets. Okay, it gets. And if I comment this guy and I destroy, it's not destroying instantly. Now the reason why that doesn't work is because I did not pass it as the first thing. So naturally on a raw PHP native, if you want to log out, you need to do session start, session destroy. So I think I'm going to use that method. So now let me comment this guy now, and let's try to destroy again. Before I destroy, I will now introduce session start again. I'm going to introduce session start, and after the session has been started again, I'm going to destroy it, just like the old ways that I normally do that in my native PHP. So click on save and refresh. Ooh, it crashed. It says session already started, ignoring. Ooh, so automatically that doesn't work, okay, because it's already started on the controller end. So click on delete and let's use it this way. So after that has been destroyed, I think we are going to write our application to support something awesome, or we can use the delete functionality so that we have a quicker response. So if we use this guy, it's more faster. Okay, so that's awesome. So after that has been done, we know our session is working fine. Awesome. So the next thing we are going to now be working on is our routes. So routes.php. So in the next session we are going to be working with our route.php. So thank God our session.php is working and our request.php is working. So let me save this to my GitHub so that we can have that. So added request .php and session.php. So commit, push it to GitHub. Okay, that is uploading. Awesome, that has been uploaded. So we have all this declared. So in the next section we are going to work with the route.php. So see you guys in the next one. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section we are going to be learning about the route.php, the most advanced class that we are going to be defining. This route takes me about a month for me to figure out. Oh yes, about a month. I faced a bug, but eventually I finally get the answer for the route.php, and you guys are gonna love it. I'm telling you. Okay, so to get started, we are going to be creating a new class called route.php. So route.php. Inside our route.php, we are going to create our namespace just like the old ways. So namespace app and core. Then here we have our class route. So class route. Then we take out these guys, and inside this place we are going to declare our public static route. Awesome. So inside this public static route is where we're going to be saving our route for us to for us to loop through to check who is serving and who is not serving. Okay, so let's just take it one after the other. So after this route array is defined, then the next one is the handler. So we need to declare the route handler, which is very important. So inside the route handler, we are going to push it as come on, this is wrong. So routes, so here we get to have it as routes handler. So routes handler. Okay, so within this route handler, in this section, we are going to push in our URL as a parameter, and here we have our control argument. So control argument, so which is supposed to be which is supposed to be an array, but I'm going to be sending a function alongside. So let's make it dynamic and not just an array. Okay, so I'm going to be sending a callable method. Okay, so don't let us make it as an array. So here now we're going to have method. Okay, so after that is done, we have our URI, we have our control argument, which is going to return the class and also the method, and also we can also send in a callable function. Okay, so the next one is the method. Awesome. So actually the control argument is going to be pushed down as a save data, so don't let us worry about this control argument. Okay, so after that is done, within this section we are going to we're going to save it. So save, so let's just take it one by one. So we're going to save the route. So for how to save the route, we're going to get this route. After getting the route, then within this place we are going to push it as a new array. So we are not just sending it as a key, we are pushing it as a new array. So here we have our URL, which is this, control argument, which is this, and also the method we are sending, which is what I just added. So if I click on save, and the next thing we now need to look into is our gets, our put, our post, and other areas that we need to pass. So that's the next thing we are going to do now, which is going to accept our URL and also the control arguments. Okay, so to do that now, I'm going to move down to this place as the get. So route get is going to be this. So we tap into our route handler. Sorry, my route handler is supposed to be static, my bad. So here I'm going to return it as static. Let me make this static, and here we are going to make this as a static method. So here we return it as a static. Okay, so that we have a uniform data. So this is for the get. Then the next one is the post, so route post. Then the next one is the put route put, and the next one delete route delete. Okay, so let's also use for the any, which is very important. Any, so we have for any. So for the not found, let's route for the not found and just echo something. So not found is not actually accepting any argument. For not found, we are just going to echo 404. I think that is good. Then the next one, if the header is not found, 404 header. So what should we show? We're going to show some message. Don't worry about sending it to header. Let's send it to the body. So no route found for the request method, no route, no route found for this request. Okay, awesome. So the next thing is class not found. Class not found. Okay, so class not found. We are going to be sending the class. Okay, so copy that, move it down to this place. Sorry, let me use double quotes. That will really make sense. Class not found. Okay, which is great. Class not found. So what else do we need to pass? I think we are good for now. So we need to also send the run. So the run is what is going to help us to do some mighty work. So there are still a lot of method for us to write. A lot of method, man. This is advanced PHP. So guys, ready your seatbelts. Make sure you sit tight so that you understand it very well. So echo running. So let me just do this as a starter. So click it, save it, and we have the basic things. We have the route and learn, we have the get, we have the post, we have the put, we have the delete, we have the any. So all this thing is passed. Okay, so for us to just see if this route handler is working, is saving into the routes, we need to now go to the home page by enabling the route system on the home page. So for us to enable it on the home page, the next thing we need to do is to close this core. Then within this app area, create a new file called route.php. Okay, so within this place, we are going to introduce our route system. So here we're going to have it as route is equal to new route, and this route is going to be imported. So let's import our route into this place. We have successfully imported our routes. Then here we're going to have the route it's a static method, route get. So with my get, I'm going to send home page. I'm not using this format, so let me use another format. So within this place, I'm going to introduce my home controller. Okay, we don't have the controller yet, sorry. So home controller, okay, we have the controller, so sorry for that. So as a class, and we have the method as index. Okay, awesome. So now I'm targeting my home controller, which has an index of, which has the method of index. So this is where we have it here. As you can see, this is it here. So home controller with the index, though I can't enter it. I don't know if it's because the namespace is not passed. Let's see. Okay, it's because we don't have the namespace. And as you can see, I can enter it now because we have the namespace. So you can pass the namespace. It's awesome. And if you'd like, you can ignore it. So now we have that as the home page. So for the about, let's pass it as the about. Let me declare a new method for about. So about, okay, awesome. So click on save. So we have the about, and after that we need to run the method. So by clicking on run, it should do that. So let's convert our run to static method. Okay, our run is now static method. So this route.php needs to be included right after the auto load so that it's going to work. Route, so here we have the routes. So require, not once, just require. So require app, then route.php. Awesome. So this is great. We have app, we have route.php, and inside our route.php we have all this, and it is run that is supposed to do all the work that we are going to be sending down to route as our URL that we just initialized. Okay, so click on save. Let me go to the browser and let's see if we are going to see something. As you can see, we have what we have running, which means it's working perfectly. So here I'm going to print I'm going to print my what's it called, self route, so that we try to log it if this route that we defined here is actually what sending down to that place. Refresh. Let me zoom out a bit. As you can see, we have it here because it is sending down to this place. We have our home page with this, and we have our about with this class. Awesome. And we have the method as about, we have the method as get, and we have the method of the class as index. Okay, so this shows that it's working, and the next thing we're going to do is to run more complicated method. We are going to dive into a deep method of making sure everything is working. We're going to check routes, break march, and everything. Okay, so let's just take it one after the other. So in the next section, we are going to learn how to do that. So see you in the next section. Bye. Hey guys, welcome again to this new section. In this section, we are going to be creating our route validation. But before we move into our route validation, we are going to define our route handler to accept anything that has to do with dynamic data. So something like this. Let's say we have blog that has paths, something like blog route. So in this blog route, we can have slash blog ID slash blog title. You see, something like this. So for us to be able to undo something that is dynamic like this, dynamic route, so we need to convert our URL to preg format, okay, so that we can undo something like this. So if I click on save and I go to the route.php, if I run this variable dump, you are going to see my screen. You're going to see what we have. As you can see, we have the blog URL with the dynamic ID. Can you see it's dynamic? So dynamic ID, dynamic title. So this dynamic ID and dynamic title is not going to work, okay? It's not going to work if we did not prepare our route handler to process it as a preg match, okay? So we are going to now do that. Then we are going to introduce a new parameter that's going to store our preg value and also store our matches, okay? So that's what we're going to be working on now. So let me go to my VS Code, and above here under the route handler, we are going to convert our URL to preg, okay? So here we're going to say convert URI to preg, okay? So to preg match. So with this is going to help us to do that. So actually this preg that we have is not really complex enough. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check if the preg, okay, I think this do that. So if preg is matching dynamic URL, which is this bracket that we have here, don't forget we added the brackets. Can you see we have this bracket here? So if the URL match this bracket from A to Z, capital letter A to Z, or from 0 to 9, which is number, then if it's inside this URL, save all the matches to this area, okay? So after the match has been saved, then I'm going to convert to dynamic regex. So we're going to have variable URI2 equals to preg replace. So we're going to replace all this dynamic data that we added by ourselves. We're going to correct it. So it's not being corrected to the validated one. So it is this value that is being accepted by the preg itself for us to make a match query. So once it's converted to something that is more readable like this, okay, after it has been converted, then we're going to escape it, which is very important. So we escape, escape this guy, which is the slash. Okay, so after we escape this guy, then the next thing we are going to do is to fix the URL2. So URI2 equals to the syntax of preg functionality. So this is going to add the syntax of preg match. Okay, so this is the formula that's going to use. So this formula is very complex. I have not really dived deep into that formula, but just pass your formula as it is on the screen and it's going to work exactly how it's supposed to be. So please do your formula in this format. It is very complex. It takes me months to figure out this solution. Okay, so after this has been passed, so let me just add a comment above. So here we convert to dynamic regex, and here we add start and end. Okay, I think this is the correct one. So it's starting from here and it ends here. Awesome, I think this work. So the URL2 is what stores our value, our new data, our new value after we converted the URL that is coming from this place. That is what we have here, everything that is coming from this place. So we convert it to accepted format for the preg match to work. Okay, so for it to determine what is coming. So after this is done, so we check if this have dynamic ID or title. So we are also going to now fall back to something like this if it does not have ID or title, which is the else. So else, we are going to state URL2 URI2 equals to the exact one that is coming. So we don't need to convert this one, the exact one that we are receiving, that is from this place. Okay, so we are going to fall back to it, and also we need to send match. So the match is already here by default. So anything that this guy process, the matches is going to be sent down to this place automatically. So these matches, we are going to accept it from here. So before we accept the matches, let me send in the preg value. So here we have the preg as the URL2. Okay, and also the matches, we need to pass in what we matches to the matches. So this first match value is going to work for here, and if this is not matching brackets, that is ID or title, is going to fall back matches to this. So matches is going to be false, so just pass it as false, and that is going to do the job for us. I told you this takes me months to figure out, so thank God I eventually solved the problem. Awesome. So click on save and let's check out the results. So refresh. As you can see, we have this URL as this. Let me zoom out a bit. We have the preg as this because this is for the index, nothing really complex, and the matches is false. Okay, so we have the method and we have the class and we have the method of the header. So the next one, we have this URI, which is what we defined on the route.php, and after the preg has been formatted it to a readable format for the preg match, we return something like this. Can you see? So this will replace this ID as A to Z, capital letter A to Z, like anything can be sent down to this ID or this title. That is what we have here. I hope you understand. And the matches return what? ID and also what? Title. Do you get that part? Okay, so let me stop here and continue in the next section. Hey guys, thank you so much for taking that course. So for the completion of the course, you can find it on aqskill.com. Over here you are going to notice the course content. So here you are going to complete the content and finalize the development. Okay guys, thank you so much once again. See you in the course. Bye.